Hey guys, welcome to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. We have a lot to talk to you about today. First and foremost, welcome to Philadelphia Live. This is part of Fox 29 Philadelphia's live coverage of things happening all across the world. So on my top left, you're going to see the camera move around a lot because we are getting set up for a press conference on this big breaking news situation. We heard multiple people shot dead in San Diego, California. This all taking place at a mosque. Now, here in Philadelphia, we have a huge Muslim community, so I can only imagine how people here are trying to come to terms and come to grips with what we're learning about happening in California. So this is a podium shot. That means that soon we're expecting law enforcement to talk to us a little bit more about all of the different things happening. I might be hearing someone else in my ear, you guys. I just want to give my team that heads up. On the bottom left, you're taking a live look at the White House because we have a lot to talk to you about there too. President Donald Trump announced today, after saying that he wanted more attacks on Iran, saying that he would cease to do that, he was going to pause, that he says that we are actually in the midst of some pretty decent peace talks. So, you know, what that could mean for us here in the United States. I know a lot of you guys are looking at your gas prices, trying to figure out what's going on there. This is all news that we'll be able to break down together. And then, of course, in your bottom right hand of your screen, you're going to take a live look at Citizens Bank Park. That's because the Phillies are taking on the Cincinnati Reds, and I think that we got a pretty good game coming up ahead of us. So, oh, you said it's already 2-0? Dang, all right. I called it. We're doing a pretty good job. But can we keep it that way? We'll be touching base with our sports team in just a little while. Now, I just also want to give you a lay of the land in here. This is the master control room. So we've got live looks at a bunch of different things that are happening all across the country. And then, of course, I'm able to hear what's going on with our reporters, and we'll be touching base with some of them, giving you guys live breaking news right here. Some of you guys are joining me on TikTok, some of you on the Fox Local app, which, by the way, is free if you'd like to download it and turn those push notifications on. You might be with us on YouTube or Facebook or any of the other social media platforms. This is an interactive news conversation. So while I'm talking about the biggest stories of the day, you can weigh in real time. If you want me to ask a question to a reporter or a meteorologist, this is the place, the time where you can do it. But let's get right back into that mosque shooting that took place in California. I took some video earlier where you guys could see exactly right there, where you guys could see the situation unfolding before our very eyes. So around 4 o'clock, we got some news that multiple people may have been shot in California, and then pretty soon we got all of that confirmed. So what they're thinking here is that 2 teenagers, for whatever reason, got themselves armed up and they went out to this Islamic center that's in San Diego. They say they shot multiple people, including a security guard. And I just want to let you know that this area is around schools. There were a lot of children in the area. We're going to be talking to and listening in to hear from some witnesses and whatnot. But as I mentioned, right here in Philadelphia, we have a huge Muslim population. And so when something like this happens, even if it's across the country, you can believe that people here are going to feel the pain of it too. I want to get right out to one of our reporters, Shawnette Wilson, who as soon as she heard that this happened in California, rushed out to see how people were reacting here in Philly. Shawnette, what are you learning?
Well, Judea, right now we are standing live outside the Philadelphia Masjid in Southwest Philly, which is one of the biggest ones here in our city. They have another prayer time coming up in about an hour. So we were hoping to be able to talk to some people, that may be coming to pray. I actually did just meet a woman just a few minutes ago who shared with me that, she hadn't even heard about this. She was, coming here to prepare to pray. But as I told her what happened, that, we've learned of the shooting that happened in San Diego, where reports are saying that there are 3 people dead, and the suspected shooters, reports are saying that they took their lives as well. She obviously was very sad to hear that this has happened. A lot of people in the community feel like, the Muslim community is, constantly under attack. And so this was just very disheartening for her to hear what happened. She also explained to me that they are in the most holy 10 days of the year for Muslims, Dhul Hijjah, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So they are just starting the Muslim season. And so just to hear of something like this happening again is just very sad, very disheartening. I had a chance to speak via Zoom, which we will hear from. We didn't have enough time to turn this around quick enough for you to play this first to play the sound back. But talking to some Muslim leaders here in Philadelphia, they've told me that they are already in communication with the mosque to have security increased in light of what has happened today, and they're just asking for the community as a whole to pray for Muslims. That this is very tragic to hear, so they're just asking for prayer. There's praying as well, but talking about increasing security and saying that even before this happened, that they were in the process of applying for state grants to have security increased, to have more security guards stationed at mosques, at the schools as well. And sadly, they say that, federal grants have been tough to get, but they are relying on some of that state money to come through to help them do this. So we're just getting out here, Judea. So again, prayer time coming up again at 8 o'clock. We would expect to see more people coming out to pray, and we'll be able to get more of a sense of what they're feeling. But Muslim or not, we know, that, you never want to see something like this happen. As a matter of fact, the Muslim leader who I spoke to via Zoom was saying that, a lot of walks of faith experience this with lack of funding for security. It's something that they all share and that they hope to improve upon. But again, entering into the 10 most holiest days of the year for this community is really a blow for them to have to hear something like this happen. So they, of course, are praying as well for Muslims in San Diego and just kind of like bonding together as a whole around the country to get through this.
I mean, Shawnette, there's so much there. So as you mentioned, how hard it is to hear that something like this is happening when our communities were in the midst of just trying to get more security. It's very ironic that this would take place right across the country, which then of course would put fire under everybody here. But the other thing too is we're hearing that 2 teenagers are the suspected shooters in this case. And that just makes you think, like, what in the world is going on with our society?
Yeah.
Are we failing the kids?
And,
how could something like this happen?
And I mentioned that to the sister I spoke to. Her last name escapes me, but her first name's Fatima. That the suspected shooters were young people who took their own lives. And she said, this is horrible. Like, how do we have so much hopelessness happening? Not only, are they, reports are saying they took 3 lives, but they then also turned around and took their own lives, is what the reports are stating. She said exactly what you said, Judea, that like what a sense of hopelessness, that young people are willing to, throw their lives away. We don't know the details, again, until that press conference actually happens about what we know about the suspected gunmen and what may have led to this. But we also are hearing reports that the FBI is investigating this as a hate crime. But yeah, 2 young people, teenagers, I believe the ages I read, Judea, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, were 17 and 19 years old. Again, she said it best, just a sense of hopelessness that, you will take lives and throw away your own. So it's horrible. And as you mentioned, we're waiting to hear more details from this press conference, but there's no way, there's nothing that can be said that's going to explain fully why things like this happening. But again, as this community is preparing for, the 10, most holy days of the year, no time is great, but this is a time, as this woman shared, that, there is an emphasis on good deeds, and, they're preparing for people who can to make a pilgrimage, and, this just kind of darkens the moment. But, they are relying on prayer to get through this, praying themselves, but also, relying on prayers from, other communities as well.
Understood. And thank you so much for getting out to us, because I know you are in the midst of just trying to get all the elements and whatnot that you can for the 10 p.m. news. I want to remind our audience that if you would like to hear more from Shawnette, more on this story on the local level, you can do that at 10 o'clock. Shawnette, I'm going to let you go so that you can get some more editing and whatnot in for your show later on. You guys who are out there streaming with me, there are a couple of moving parts to this. Shawnette mentioned multiple times that there was going to be a press conference coming up soon. Again, we are on Podium Watch. As soon as they step up to that microphone and try to give us an update, I will try my best to get you out there live as quickly as possible so that we can all stay up to date with everything that's happening out there and what they plan to do to make sure that community feels safe. I can tell you that right before I came on live to the show, I was listening in to some of those live interviews right there on the ground. Our sister station had some reporters out on the field just asking questions. As I mentioned, kids, lots of kids in this area. There's some schools and people were learning in this area. We're hearing from parents that they were absolutely terrified to hear that this happened and just trying to get out to their kids as quickly as possible. One parent who told us that he's not from the U.S., but he is a citizen, he lives here now, he mentioned how afraid he is just moving around knowing that something like this could happen any day. He felt really grateful to know that he was able to get out to his child quickly, but I mean, that was probably the only silver lining that he was finding in all of this. So, you know, a lot of moving parts there. She also mentioned, she heard Shawnette say that the two suspects she believed were 17 and 19 years old. That is still the case. We believe that still to be the case today. So again, as soon as we see those law enforcement officers step up to that podium, I'll try to bring you out there live. Now, I'm not quite sure if our meteorologist can hear me. I was having some technical difficulties with her earlier, so we may not have her, but I do want to mention that right here in Philadelphia, oh, it looks like she can hear us. Kathy, you are the woman of the hour. I hope you got all the answers for us. It is very, very warm, but I'm hearing like we're breaking records almost to the point where it could be a risk for health. What do you know?
Well, I mean, Judea, it's, hold on one second. I'm hearing myself talk. We have a few technical
No problem, Kathy.
Hold on. There
Technology
we go.
is great in
All right,
television,
Judea, I'm
isn't
having
it?
a hard time hearing you without feedback, so I just had to turn that monitor down. As far as the weather's concerned, it is unusual to have this kind of heat and this intensity this early in the season and have 3 days of records. So with that regard, yes, we have to be very wary of health concerns. But on the other hand, we have a heat advisory. It's not excessive heat. So it's not the type of thing that we usually see in July and August. Not quite that intense. So I'll explain. Here's a look at today's high temperatures. High temperatures today broke records in many locations. 2 of them, Philadelphia, a new high of 96, and also in Reading, we tied a record of 96. Elsewhere, mainly in the 90s, but no record breakers. As we go through the rest of the evening, dry conditions, clear skies. You see those storms, though, through Ohio. They will stay to the west, but we will see some storms by midweek, and they will be breaking the heat. But for now, temperatures stay in the 90s in Philadelphia, Doylestown, and even in Trenton, still in the 90s. Down the shore, look at those upper 70s. That's because the ocean water temperatures are influencing the shore points, and the ocean water temperatures are only in the 50s. As we look at the suburbs this evening, still 88 in Pennsville, Swedesboro, New Jersey, 89 in Westchester, and 92 degrees in Phoenixville at this hour. As we look at the highs, we have 2 more to go. A record potential for your Tuesday. We're forecasting 98, the record 96. Then another record on Wednesday. We're forecasting 96, the record 94. The normal high is 75. So this is way out of balance for this time of year. As we continue through the week, it's not going to stay that warm. Things are definitely going to be changing. And between now and then, we will definitely be seeing things change around the Delaware Valley for sure. So as we look at the temperatures during the day tomorrow, 98 in Philadelphia, 97 in Glassboro, 97 in Medford, to the north and west in the 90s. Even in the Poconos, 86. Down the shore, we still make it around 80 degrees, so it will be warmer than it was today. As we go through Wednesday, that's the last day of this heat. Temperatures will be around 92 by noon, and by the afternoon, well into the 90s as well. Heat advisory through 8 o'clock tonight. It continues for tomorrow. It continues through Wednesday. And this is what I'm talking about. The heat and humidity combine to make it feel like it's in the upper 90s, not 100, not 110. And that's when the heat gets deadly. So right now we're talking about heat stress. We're not used to this, so we do have to take frequent breaks, check on the elderly. Also, take care of your pets during this, because you can see all that red, that is the heat building in the east, and it settles down Thursday and Friday with a dramatic drop in temperature. So for the next couple of days, stay hydrated, take breaks, try to get an air conditioning, even if you have to go to the mall and take a break. Temperatures will stay in the 90s the next 2 days. And then look at this. Between Wednesday and Thursday, a front comes through, and temperatures fall 30 degrees. So Wednesday, it feels like summer. And by Thursday, it feels like fall. And then it stays cool and unsettled as the front stalls to our south. So Friday, Saturday, we're in the 50s. Sunday, we're in the 60s. It's like, what the heck is happening here? And then by Monday, we're seeing some showers and a temperature of 72. And if you look at the 10-day trend, yes, we have 3 days that are intensely hot. And then just like that, it switches. Temperatures just bottom out and then they begin to rebound. But by that time, we're in the middle of next week and the holiday weekend has passed. So Jude, I'm having a hard time hearing you, but in the meantime, I just wanted to send you that information, and we'll work on that audio and my earpiece for our next hit. But
yeah,
that's the bottom line, so stay cool.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Hey, she mentioned to you guys that we all need to stay hydrated. That is exactly what I'm doing here in studio. So bottoms up, water all day. That is how we are going to stay safe, and that is how we're going to make it through. Now, I just wanted to point out that she mentioned tomorrow is going to hit 98. That wasn't a typo on her forecast there. We all know that tomorrow is also election day. So I just want you all to be very, very careful while you're making your way out to the polls. Please do not let the weather take you away from getting out there. These elections are extremely important. The same way that you guys have so much energy when you don't like a politician or some policy that's going out there, this is the time where you really make a difference. Honestly, it's on the local level. So just wanted to point that out there. We'll be talking to you a little bit more about what are the key races, what do you need to know before you get out to the polls a little later on in the show. Now, remember, we are keeping up with all things that are happening locally. Citizens Bank Park, that is where the Phillies are taking on the Cincinnati Reds. And I heard at the top of the show that we were already up, but now it looks like we are tied. So let's see where we go. I mean, we're only in the bottom of the second, so anything can happen. It is literally anybody's game. Honestly, I have so much respect for the fans who were out there in the stands braving this warm, hot weather. I don't know how you guys aren't all sweating, but I guess when you are a diehard fan, nothing will keep you away from your team. We'll be checking in throughout the night too with our sports team just to see, what we need to be paying attention to when it comes to our guys out there. And of course, soon enough, it will be Eagle season. I want to know everything that I need to know as a new Philadelphian. What are the things that I need to get prepared before the Eagles come out to play? We'll have more on all this breaking news, live news, everything when we come back. Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. Even though I'm streaming for you guys live from Philadelphia, I want to bring you back out just for a second to San Diego, California, where we are keeping our eyes on this breaking news situation. Earlier today, we heard that multiple people were shot and killed at a mosque out there. Now, we are very close to the great holiday season for people who follow the Islamic faith. So just keeping our eyes, our ears open as we try to learn more information why something like this would have happened. I can tell you that so far we are hearing that those suspects, they're saying two shooting suspects in this case were underage. They were teenagers. We're hearing 17 and 19 for those two suspects. And among the victims in this case, we're hearing that there were three, one of which beloved security guard in that area. Now, this all taking place at the Islamic Center. I can also tell you that we heard that there were children in the area. You can actually see some of them evacuating. So at one point in time, everything was on lockdown. Officials did say that they neutralized the threat, which, by the way, we later learned that those two teen suspects that we're hearing about were found a little ways away from the scene, dead inside of a car. It's believed that they turned the guns on themselves after they shot those three other people. So in total, 5 people dead in this situation. We're monitoring it here in Philadelphia because we have a huge Muslim community. I'm sure that there are people on the grounds here. We've heard from our Shawnette Wilson that are concerned about what's happening out there and just trying to see what we can do here in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, the tri-state area to make sure that our communities are still safe. And we are on podium watch, so any minute now we're expecting officials to come out and deliver some sort of breaking news update on what we're learning about this situation. Again, so far we have heard from law enforcement that the suspects in this case, there are 2 of them, and they do believe that they were 17 and 19 years old, but I have not heard anything about a motive just yet. I know a lot of people are hoping that that's what the update is on. Now, speaking of violence, I mean, a lot of things happening, a lot of turning parts. I want to take you live out to the White House. President Donald Trump today announced that he wanted to pause his plans to attack Iran, which, I mean, by the way, not too long ago, he said he wanted to go full force. He said that there was no mercy for them. But on Truth Social, he actually put out a post I wanted to let you guys take a look at. He said that he had been asked by multiple different people, multiple entities from Saudi Arabia, from the UAE, to hold off on any planned military attack of the Islamic Republic of Iran. He said that those attacks were planned for tomorrow, but due to some serious negotiations that he says are now taking place, he also believes that these leaders, they want this deal to be made very quickly. They're hoping that the U.S. will pause any attacks, and President Donald Trump says that he will. But he also says that if there is a deal to be made, it needs to include no nuclear weapons for Iran. He says he is not budging on that. So we're going to keep looking out for any updates from our president. I was able to listen to him speak a little earlier on today, and he just mentioned that he was trying to do what was best for all of the different countries involved. So again, our eyes are going to be open to see what really happens there. Now, back to that mosque shooting as we continue to get more information about it. I want to let you know that earlier on today, as I mentioned, we're on podium watch for a live press conference, but a little earlier on today, maybe about at this point in time 2 hours or so ago, we heard from law enforcement initially. They gave us a little bit of information that I was able to give out to you now, and I do warn you, it turned out to be a very emotional press conference. I want to see if we can listen in to just a little bit of what they had to say a little earlier.
About 11:43, we received a call of an active shooter at the Islamic Center. Within 4 minutes, officers arrived on scene and observed immediately 3 what appeared to be deceased victims out in front. They immediately began to deploy with an active shooter response into the mosque and adjacent school. At about the same time, we began to receive calls from just a couple blocks away that we had more active gunfire. Officers were also responding to that call for service at the same time. There was a landscaper that was doing his work that was shot at and fortunately was not hit. That was at about the 7100 block of Salerno, which is just a couple blocks from here. Moments later, at the 3800 block of Hatton, officers were called to that location where they found a vehicle in the middle of the street with who we believe to be the shooters in this incident, both deceased. The circumstances that led up to this and the details of what happened and exactly which time it happened will come out in the days ahead. I can tell you, this is, in 28 years, this is the most dynamic and impressive response that I have ever seen in policing. We have every single police officer available throughout our county that dropped what they're doing and did exactly what they're trained to do: run towards gunfire. I could not be more proud, and I cannot express the gratitude, the willingness to step into harm's way in a moment like this. And I tell you what got me. Watching the kids come running out. Just thankful to be alive. I want to bring up Mark Remley from the FBI. Because of the Islamic Center location, we are considering this a hate crime until it's not. And at this point, we're going to work closely with the FBI to make sure that we are matching all the resources that we need for this investigation. So, Mark?
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Remley. I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI San Diego Field Office. Today, the FBI responded to assist our local law enforcement partners at the Islamic Center of San Diego. This was based on reports of an active shooter. As the chief said, what we know at this time is that there are 3 deceased adult males, and those are the presumed victims at this time. On behalf of the FBI, we extend our sincerest condolences to the family and friends of the victims of this tragic incident. There were 2 subjects, both teenagers, and both are confirmed deceased. I want to thank our local law enforcement partners for their quick response that undoubtedly saved the additional loss of life. The FBI is meticulously assessing the situation and is prepared to employ every resource we have to uncover the facts of this incident. No community should have to go through such a tragic incident, but we will work tirelessly until we learn the truth. We have on scene a number of special agents, task force officers, our evidence response personnel, victim specialists, and many more. As we work through this investigation, we ask for your patience to determine any motive and facts associated with the shooting. The FBI continues to ask for the public's help in providing any information that could help us resolve this investigation, and we remind the public that any detail, no matter how small, could be useful. The FBI has set up a digital media tip line for information regarding this shooting. We ask that the public submit their tips to FBI.gov or call 1-800-CALL-FBI with any information you may have. Thank you.
One more piece of information that I failed to put out. There is a reunification center set up at 4125 Hathaway, where parents could be reunified with their kids and any of their loved ones that might be related to the Islamic Center. That is the location where you can be reunified. Next, I want to bring up the Mayor of San Diego, Mayor Todd Gloria.
Thank you, Chief. I want to be here to reemphasize what our police chief said. The threat currently has been addressed. Children are safe, and that is a good thing. Obviously, we've had the loss of life here at the Islamic Center of San Diego. To our local Muslim community, my prayers are with you. I want to assure our Muslim community that we will do everything it takes to make sure that you can feel safe in this city, and no resource will be spared in making sure that our religious institutions and locations are protected in this sensitive time. I want to respond to our calls to clear the area, to allow law enforcement to do their jobs. I ask you to continue to do that. You hear otherwise, as Chief said, students can be picked up at the church just down the street here. We have that information already sent out. I would just say at this time, obviously we'll have more comments later today. But at this moment, I want to simply express my immense gratitude and that of all 4 million San Diegans for the incredible law enforcement response that we saw here today. As Chief mentioned, response within 4 minutes. This is what we train for. This is what we ask of our public safety professionals, and they absolutely deliver in the way that we ask them to do so. I appreciate our San Diego Police Department, our San Diego Fire Rescue Department, our Chief of the Fire Department is here as well as our local, state, and federal partners, many of whom have been in touch with me directly, recognizing the gravity of this situation and why it is so such a tragic situation for which there'll be a lot more work to be done in the days and weeks ahead. Again, my condolences to the victims and their families. Muslim community, one of our great leaders is here, Taha, directly impacted. This is a time for making sure that we do everything that's necessary to investigate the incident that was here today, but to reassure, as I always will, it has no place in San Diego, and when it happens and crime of any nature occurs, we will hold you accountable. Again, appreciation to public safety professionals. I'll turn it back to our chief.
I'll open it up to questions here in just a second. I want you to keep in mind, we're giving you what we have and what we know at this point, and there's only so many limitations. There's a limitation of what we can go into at this point until we can confirm information. So with that, we'll open up to a couple questions.
5 total, 3 here and 2 in another car.
Yeah. So thank you for asking that. How many total deceased? So we have our 2 suspects that are deceased. We have 3 victims at the Islamic Center. All 3 are adults, for a total of 5 people that are deceased related to this incident. So we are actively investigating that right now to figure out and piece together exactly what led to this moment. And as we get that information confirmed and verified, we'll be back out here providing more details moving forward.
Chief, apologies if you said this before, but how did the 2 suspects meet their end?
So the suspects at this point appear to have died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. There were no officers involved in firing their weapons. But that is still very preliminary at this point. But that's what we believe right now. 2 males.
Do you have ages on them?
At this point, we believe them to be 17 and 19. So again, we are actively investigating the things that led up to this. Obviously, these things don't typically just happen on a whim. And the information that we knew preceding it is what we're actively looking into. And once we get that information verified and assembled, we will provide it. Yes, ma'am. So the Islamic Center does have security. One of the deceased is a security guard that works there, and I think played a pivotal role in assisting this being much worse.
I'm hearing a lot of information coming into the newsroom as that gentleman was finishing up that press conference that we had earlier with some of the latest details that we have in this mosque shooting. I can tell you that the Islamic Center where all this took place, that is the largest Islamic center in San Diego. So, you know, I don't know why those two teams, as they say, chose that particular place. We're still waiting to hear a motive. I want to let you know that we are on podium watch, and just while that gentleman was speaking, I did see someone come out. They were doing their mic checks, getting the last minute white balance for the cameras. So I imagine that pretty soon we will be having that press conference. You guys, we are going to take a quick step back though. We have a big story coming up about the Murdaugh trial. Remember that guy who was convicted of killing his wife and his son, and then all of a sudden that conviction, that double conviction, was overturned? We'll be talking about all of that and what's going on now when we come back. All right, welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. There are a lot of moving parts happening right now as we speak. Live news, breaking news. I want to bring you right out to San Diego, California. The chief is speaking live at this point in time, and we're hoping for some major updates in this mosque shooting. Let's see what he has to say.
To the families of the three that are deceased because of the horrific actions of today. This is a city's and a community's absolute worst nightmare as a free society. And I appreciate all of your patience as we try to work through and piece this scene back together again. I have some updated information that I want to make sure everybody has. At about 9:42 this morning, we received a call of a runaway juvenile. After speaking with the mom began to piece together bits and pieces of information over an extended period of time. The information that she was gathering and conveying to us began to elevate the threat level that we were perceiving with this information. She believed her son was suicidal, and she began to share information that several of her weapons were missing. Her vehicle was missing, in addition to her son. She also said that her son was with a companion, and that they were dressed in camo, and that is not consistent with what we would typically see from somebody that is suicidal. That began to trigger a larger threat assessment picture. Our threat management unit began to take the tips and leads that we had and utilize the technology we have available to us. Our license plate readers was at the top of that list. We began to have, we noted that there were hits with the vehicle down in Fashion Valley. We dispatched officers into the area of the mall as a possible location that was a threat. We also gathered information that one of the individuals was associated in some form or fashion with Madison High School. We alerted school police department, and we dispatched officers into the area of Madison High School. While we were gathering this information and we were trying to zero in on where these individuals were at, we received the call at approximately 11:43 that there was an active shooter at the Islamic Center. Officers were in the area, still talking with mom, trying to piece together where they might be, the locations that she felt that they would be at. And that was just a few blocks away. Those officers, once they heard what was happening at the Islamic Center, immediately dispatched themselves to the mosque. And just to recap what we talked about earlier, when officers arrived on scene, they came across, in some form or fashion, 3 deceased individuals, victims. One was a security guard at the center.
Was he the big guy?
We'll get some questions in just a minute, sir. Thank you. Because of what the officers were encountering, and because we know that this is a large gathering facility with kids, with adults, with community members from throughout our county, officers immediately began to enter the facility, utilizing our active shooter protocol, looking for a suspect or two. At about the same time as they were making entry and searching through the facility, room by room, we received calls of a vehicle a couple blocks away that was shooting at a landscaper. The landscaper is going to be okay, but we are still investigating that scene. It appears he may have been shot in the helmet that deflected and saved his life, but that is not totally confirmed at this point. A couple blocks away from there, we also received a call where a community member reported our 2 suspects in a vehicle, and it appeared they had gunshot wounds, and upon our arrival, we determined they were deceased. We are in the process of serving search warrants that will continue tonight and on into the days ahead. We're going to continue following any leads and any information that comes forward, as we're all focused on figuring out how this happened and what could we have done to prevent it. I will end by saying It's not a cliche. If you see something, if you hear something, if you know something, that is an integral part of preventing things like this from happening, and it's an integral part for us to be able to take that information, utilize the tools that we have to try to prevent something like this from happening. So with that, I'm going to bring up Mark Remley from the FBI to discuss a little bit more information.
Thank you all for coming, and thank you, Chief. My name is Mark Remley. I am the Special Agent in charge of the FBI San Diego Field Office. As was reported earlier, 3 adults have lost their lives in today's senseless act of violence. We also know the 2 teenage subjects responsible are also deceased. The FBI is determined to uncover all the facts associated with this incident and learn why this shooting occurred at the Islamic Center of San Diego. Here's what we know at this time after our preliminary assessment and working closely with our law enforcement partners to gather evidence. Victim specialists deployed to the Reunification Center at 4125 Heatwave in San Diego. We're also having additional victim services personnel deploy from our headquarters in Washington, D.C. to assist with the families that have been impacted. Our bomb techs have cleared the vehicle associated with the subjects. We are in the process of interviewing family and friends of the subjects, and evidence response teams are gathering all the evidence from the scene for review. We will process everything as quickly but as meticulously as we can. We again thank you for your patience as we work through the scene. The FBI stands with the communities we serve, and our hearts weigh heavy for those killed and everyone who's subjected to this violence today. Shooting incidents like this not only impact those within the immediate vicinity, but everyone in the community also feels the effects. We will continue to coordinate with our law enforcement partners and work closely with them for as long as it takes until we understand what happened. We will leave no stone unturned. We thank the public for your continued cooperation. As we continue to work through this active investigation, we ask that you send photos, videos, or any visual evidence or information you may have to fbi.gov/Islamic Center of San Diego shooting. As I mentioned earlier, no piece of information is too small. Everything helps us gather all the relevant evidence we need to better understand why this horrific incident occurred. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the mayor for some comments.
Thank you.
Fucking direct result of your leadership! Our Muslim brothers and sisters have been talking to you for how long? You have to fucking listen to them, Todd. Just like you did with ICE.
It's
You was
Trump.
bold in
It's Trump.
ICE.
Hate
You were
speech.
bold in science
Trump.
propaganda.
Hate speech.
And you'll keep doing it as long as it lines your fucking pockets, won't it? Show something. Worse approval rating than a fascist dictator with shit in his pants.
Today, our city was shaken by a violent act of hate here at the Islamic Center of San Diego, and my heart is with every person that is impacted by this horrific tragedy. No one in our city should live in fear because of their identity, their faith, or their place of learning. I'm grateful to the San Diego Police Department, our San Diego Fire Rescue Department, and our partners at the local, state, and federal level, all of whom showed up here to help with this investigation and this response and help to bring this threat to an end. This tragedy is particularly hurtful to our Muslim community as it comes together at the start of the Dhul Hijjah, one of Islam's holiest periods leading up to the Hajj and the Eid al-Adha, a time of deep faith, reflection, and unity. Hate has no home in San Diego. Islamophobia has no home in San Diego. An attack on any San Diegan is an attack on all San Diegans, and we will not stand for it in America's finest city. Let there be no misunderstanding. For anyone who would seek to bring this kind of violence to this city, you will be met with the full force of our law enforcement partnerships. Anyone who seeks to do harm here will understand the response will be swift and you will be brought to justice. In the meantime, I want to assure San Diegans, in particular our Muslim brothers and sisters, the San Diego Police Department will be guarding all of our local houses of worship with additional presence to assure your safety during this very, very tragic time. We'll be guarding other houses of worship and making sure that we anticipate and try and prevent the very worst. We didn't meet that mark today, but I have deep gratitude to the security officer who was here, whose actions and heroism undoubtedly saved lives. And I'm grateful to every law enforcement individual who ran toward this call to help bring these people to justice. My prayers and my thoughts and our whole hearts community is with the Islamic Center of San Diego and all Muslim San Diegans. With that, I'll turn it back to our chief.
Before I open up to questions, we're a little over 5 hours outside of this incident. Understand the complexity of and the dynamics of a situation like this and the emotions that are without a doubt behind everything that's going on. Much of what else there is to answer is currently being investigated, and I cannot go into some of those details. But I will do my best to try to make sure that you guys have the information you need moving forward. So with that, I will open up to some questions. Yes, sir.
Earlier that
We have
the
sources.
Hang on.
security guard.
Trevor, go
We
ahead.
have sources who say that there were anti-Islamic writings found inside the vehicle. Talk about how you received information from your mother as well as your shooting. Is any of that information indicative of how he might be targeting the Islamic Center or Muslims?
Yeah, we are actively investigating this as a hate crime. There are details and information that we are investigating as to exactly what those what the hate speech or the hate words were that were conveyed. Some of that is going to have to take more time to develop further to see where that information's coming from. But yes, it's being investigated as a hate crime at this point. There was definitely hate rhetoric that was involved.
That was found inside the. It was involved or was found inside?
Involved.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that for now. Yes.
Chief, what about the security guard? We had heard earlier reports that he engaged with these guys in some gunfight. Is that true?
It's still preliminary. We're still looking into that. We do believe the security guard was able to help at least minimize the situation to the front area of the mosque. Until we know more, I don't want to speculate, but at this point I think it's fair to say his actions were heroic, and undoubtedly he saved lives today. Yes, ma'am. I don't have details, but yes, the call came in as a runaway, and then it kind of elevated as mom began to kind of piece together what she was finding with her son being missing. She she realized that she was missing weapons, multiple weapons. Her vehicle was missing. There are details that she was beginning to develop a bigger picture as to what she was dealing with, was conveying that to our folks, and we were trying to put that together and get out in front of this as quickly as we could. She found some note left by him. What that note looks like, what that note says, I'm not going to disclose right now. Yes, sir. Search warrants that we're going to be serving, I'm not going to put that information out right now. No. Some of that information, that's what we're actively looking and investigating right now. Obviously, we have a lot of questions. Is what led up to this moment, and that will be ongoing in this investigation as we move forward.
How far inside the teenagers were able to get in?
I'm sorry?
How far the teenagers were able to get in?
I'm not sure at this point.
Are you able to share more about the other victims? We know one is a security guard and gave some serious documents about the other two victims.
We've just basically notified family of those victims. We are not going to put out their identity right now. We will put that information out here in the days ahead. But for now, we're not putting that information out. We're trying to protect kind of what we have. There's more work to be done, and we want to make sure that we're preserving some of that for the moment. Yes, ma'am.
Provide specific identifying information, but can you tell us anything about their roles at the Islamic Center?
I'm going to let Imam Taha answer that type of question. I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure.
Share anything more about the relationship between
17
the 17 and 19
and 18. Yeah, I think it's 18. And then I need to correct that. I think I put out earlier it was 19. I believe it's 18. No.
They both were at the high school, both are students at the high school.
Unknown. At least one, but unknown about the other one. It just in general, well, I think it's fair to say that all religious facilities across this country, around the world, in today's world, are well aware of the risks that are associated. It's an unfortunate reality of the world we live in today, but I would say absolutely, everybody feels that insecurity. Well, first, let me make sure I'm clear. There was no specific threat, especially no specific threat to the Islamic Center. It was just general hate kind of speech that I think covered a wide gamut. I don't want to go into any of the specifics at this point. Again, we are still actively investigating this as we speak, but it was more generalized.
What was the relationship between the teenager and Madison High School? Was he a student there?
In some form or capacity, he was associated with the school as a student. Exactly what that capacity is, we're not sure of just yet. So the question is, was there a specific threat to the high school? There was no specific threat to any facility or any place with what we knew. There was generalized hate rhetoric and speech. Mom believed that her son was suicidal, but the additional bits of information led us to believe that there was a bigger threat picture here that we needed to consider. One person that's suicidal is not going to take 3 weapons from a location. Those little bits of information were significant and important that triggered a much bigger threat assessment that began to bring additional investigators in to utilize the technology that we have available to try to get out in front of what we feared would be coming. But there was no specific threat to this center or any religious facility or any school or any mall in any way. I want to make sure that's clear. We don't get that wrong.
3 weapons, right?
You spoke about the landscaper who was shot at. Is that confirmed that these shootings are related, or is that something you're still investigating?
We're still investigating, but yes, we do believe that's all associated with the larger picture of today's events. It's not. They're not separate.
The names of two.
Let me, sir, go ahead.
So, Chief, I want to know, and hopefully elections too, how do you plan to protect these sites of worship if what is stretched into your officers and protect today?
Yeah. So, first of all, this is why we need the community. This is a partnership. Public safety is a shared responsibility. It is important that people share information when they see, hear, or know something that pertains to threats of violence. That is what allows us to filter through who is going to cause harm and who is not. So that information is priority one.
You know when you're going to reopen the mosque?
I'll let Imam Taha speak to that.
And Chief, just a clarification, the mother that you're speaking about, mother of the younger juvenile or the older?
The younger. All right, listen, folks, we'll sit here all night and go question and answer. We will provide more information when more information is available and we have more of the information confirmed that we're now starting to speculate on. I want to make sure that you have the details thus far so that you understand exactly what we were responding to, what we were dealing with. And I'll close by saying this. Our hearts go out to the families, obviously the greater Muslim community. We're one city, and we're one community. As police chief, I am grateful that we have police officers and sheriff's deputies from throughout this county that dropped what they were doing and didn't do just what they were trained to do. They did what we hired them to do, to step into harm's way, to be willing to run towards gunfire, to protect people they don't even know. And so with that, thank you for your patience, and we will be back out in the days ahead with more information. Thank you.
All right, so for those of you who just joined in, I want to go over some of the nuts and bolts of what we learned from this particular press conference. This, of course, is coming as we're learning more information about that deadly shooting at a mosque in San Diego, California. So what I can tell you is they are saying that the two shooting suspects in this case are believed to be teenagers. Originally, we were reporting 17 and 19 years old. The chief just said that he was correcting that to 17 and 18 years old. He says that one of the suspects had some sort of association to a high school, a local school there, Madison High School to be exact, just in case any of you guys are familiar with the area. The other thing that he said that I found interesting was that this originated as a call about a runaway juvenile. They said that a mother called, she was concerned because she realized her son was missing, and in addition to him missing, she realized she was missing multiple weapons as well as her vehicle. She said that she believed her son was with a companion and that they were wearing camouflage gear, and that at some point there was a letter or a note left behind. Now, the officials didn't tell us what that letter said, but I did hear the chief mention in there that when he heard that the teenagers were wearing camouflage, he felt that he needed to escalate this with the threat management system, that alert became heightened. He said he didn't believe that suicide was involved. So, you know, I can't speculate on what that letter or that note would have said, but that is something that he mentioned in that press conference. I also want to let you know that we're hearing that there were 3 victims shot in this case. We're hearing one of those victims was a security guard who officials are now telling us played a very pivotal role in making sure that those 2 teens couldn't kill more people. So while he didn't go into detail about what that security guard did exactly, he did say that that security guard should be hailed as heroic and said that he saved lives today. So now another big question that a lot of the journalists who were in that press conference kept asking in just different ways was there a specific threat to the mosque? Because this is being investigated as a hate crime. Now, the official told us there that no, there was no specific threat against the Islamic Center, which, by the way, is the largest mosque in San Diego County. He said there was no direct threat to that facility, no direct threat to the school that I mentioned that one of the students, one of the guys, had some sort of connection with. He did say, however, that somehow, some way, they were able to dig up some hate speech or hate rhetoric. Again, he didn't go into detail about exactly what was said, but he said that that was going to be something that continues to be investigated throughout the days to come. The official also mentioned that he wanted to issue multiple search warrants. Wouldn't say exactly where he wanted to search. He said he didn't want to go into that at this point in time. But for the next couple of days, I guarantee we're going to be hearing more from the local police department. I know the FBI was on the scene, so we may even hear from them. We're also going to continue hearing from religious leaders all over the place. I mean, even here in Philadelphia. Let's put things into perspective. We have a very large Muslim community right here in Philly. And a lot of people say that they're scared hearing that something like this happened. By the way, happening at that mosque, which also has classes for really young children. I'm hearing children as young as 5 years old were walking out of that center, out of their classes, holding hands, trying to be evacuated to another location that their parents could then pick them up from. So, I mean, I want you to put that all into perspective. Our choppers flew over a lot of this scene. So throughout the stream, I'm hoping to bring you guys some more visuals of what exactly took place there. They are not naming those juveniles who were involved in this case, but right now I can tell you that, again, they are confirming that there are 2 suspected gunmen who have been neutralized. They say that a community member actually found them in a vehicle a little ways away from that mosque, and they had self-sustained gunshot wounds. And I can also tell you that there are 3 victims that we are learning about in this case, all adults, one including a security guard who officials say in some way, shape, or form was a hero in this case. We're going to keep digging deeper into this. I want to bring you more information as this live stream continues. My name is Judea Murray. You're watching Philadelphia Live from Fox 29 Philadelphia. We go over local news, national news, international news. If it's breaking, if it's live, we've got it. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. Again, a lot of big news to bring you guys all. We're going to continue talking to you about that shooting at that mosque in San Diego, California, but I also want to bring you some hyper-local breaking news, live news. We're hearing that we're experiencing record-breaking heat, high temperatures right in the tri-state. That's Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware. I want to know how the people are making it on their way through. So I want to touch base with Joanne, one of our reporters who's been live out on the scene. Joanne, before you tell me about how people are doing, how are you doing? You got water with you?
Actually, it's actually not too bad where I am right now. Getting a little bit of a cool breeze off of the fountain, the spray fountain here at City Hall. I think, wait, is it over? I don't know. These kids have been having such a great time, but what a weather swing we've had today, right? A record-breaking day. In a little bit later than the middle of May, woke up to 70-degree temperatures this morning. Then it shot up very quickly to the mid-90s, breaking records, right? And then right now, it's still in the mid-80s. It's rough on all of us, right? And I literally mean all of us. Let's get to some video. We headed out to the dog park near Rittenhouse, and look what we found. There's a dog pool, a puppy pool there, and the dogs were trying to beat the heat too. We went over to Rittenhouse Square where people were just chilling out, trying to be in the shade, and if they were in the sun, they weren't moving around too much. And that, of course, is because of this record-breaking heat. It really feels like August in May. So then we headed back to City Hall Park and caught the kids playing happily in the fountain. It was really seemingly the best way to cool off. One thing we did find out this evening was there's a school over off the Parkway, and the parents received a notification today that the kids may be learning virtually later on this week. That school is a polling spot tomorrow, so the school's closed. But on Wednesday, they have no air conditioning in that school, and the parents were already notified that the kids may be learning virtually on Wednesday because the school officials apparently said that it was just too hot for these kids to be in the classroom in 90-degree heat. And you can imagine that. Remember back in the day? Well, you probably don't remember today, but I did.
Try me,
Went to a
Joanne.
Catholic school, and we did not have air conditioning in the classroom back then.
Oh.
We also were wearing like that wool outfit. It was wool. We wore like this wool
That's
kilt
insane.
thing. It was ridiculously hot. But yeah, it certainly feels like summer, and people are doing what they can to beat this weather. I'm sure there was probably a lot of kids who skipped out and went down to the beaches today, or anybody who could. But we'll have more a little bit later. Again, we've got tomorrow to deal with. The poll workers have tomorrow to deal with. They'll be inside some of these buildings where they may or may not have air conditioning. They're going to be there all day for Election Day. But and then Wednesday, another day of 90-degree temperatures. So we're certainly feeling summer in spring, if you will, here in Philly and the surrounding areas.
Which is so interesting to me, and actually you brought up a couple of points that I want to bring to Kathy's attention a little later on, our meteorologist. But
Sure.
of course, Election Day being tomorrow is going to be a big one. You mentioned the election workers, the poll workers, who are going to be inside in some of these places that don't have the AC. And honestly, if you think about it, in some of those places, it's going to be like being in an oven if you don't have the windows open, or even if they are open. It's about 98-degree temperatures. But I'm thinking about the people who are going to be waiting in line. I'm sure some of these lines are going to be really long. That sun beating on them, I wonder how they're going to be able to get around that.
Sorry, I just missed the last part of your question. It's a little loud around here. I'm
No,
sorry. Didn't hear
it's
the last
okay.
part of your question.
I figured that there's so much excitement out there. I've seen the kids walking behind you and getting, wet and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I would say,
Look, there's still fountain's still going.
have you gotten a chance to jump in there yet?
No, maybe later. I don't know. Can't mess my hair up before, the show, right?
Yeah, you're thinking right. We're going to see you at 10 o'clock with more, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And for those of you guys who are streaming with me, we're going to be talking a little bit more about how serious this heat truly is. I mean, we're talking about risks to your health, whether you have chronic illnesses or maybe you're caring for an older loved one. Like, these are going to be the things that you need to think about, especially tomorrow, especially if you don't have AC. Now, I want to bring you out as well, Citizens Bank Park, if we still have that live camera up. I'm seeing that the Cincinnati Reds and the Phillies are still going at it. We're at the bottom of the sixth. Cincinnati Reds are down. It is 2-3. Our guys are pulling out a good one. So I'm hoping that later on tonight, maybe we'll have that post-game press conference for you all. I love to bring you on out where you can hear from interim manager Don Mattingly about how he felt the game went, what strategy he wants to move forward with, what didn't work, all of that good stuff. We're hoping to bring that out to you live. And of course, we're also going to be touching base with our sports team to learn a little bit more about everything that we need to know about the Phillies season ahead. Keep in mind too that in a couple of months, we got the notification already that Philadelphia Eagles are back at it. Go Birds. So the big thing to everybody's going to want to know is, who are the players to look out for, what to expect this season. I mean, for me, I want to know where to get some merch from New to Philadelphia, and I got to get dripped down. So I'll be touching base with our sports team just to see a little bit more about, what I can expect for my first football season here in the city of brotherly love. All right, we got a lot coming up for you all. I mentioned Election Day when we were talking to Joanne. We're going to go into all the things that you need to know, your guide to Election Day. Make sure you get out there and vote. We'll be right back. back to Philadelphia Live. We have some breaking news for you all. Our chopper is headed out to a major crash that has closed down a roadway. So what I can tell you right now is we are looking for a situation. We're hearing that there was an 18-wheeler that collided with some sort of, I believe, a construction vehicle. Wow. All right. Chopper just landed on it. You can see that that 18-wheeler went right off the road. It looks like there were guardrails that were supposed to be, keeping all the cars in check. But obviously that 18-wheeler, we're talking about what, like a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 pounds there, ramming through. And so clearly it did go off the roadway. So we're seeing, it looks like what might be a tow truck there. We're seeing multiple emergency first responders at the scene. Also, let me get a little closer. I want to see if I can tell who's on the grounds here for you all. I do see vests so everybody can be seen. I am seeing a fire truck on the scene as well. And you can also see right next to that truck, it looks like that vehicle, that construction or commercial vehicle, whatever it may have been, you can actually see it laying on that truck. So again, this is breaking news. You can even see the skid marks where that truck went off the roadway. We're hoping to bring you guys more information. I'm hearing that this is Route 30 that we're taking a look at. Again, our helicopter got to the scene just as we came out from a commercial break. So you've been taking this live look there. Now, if you guys are familiar with Pennsylvania at all, this is Chester County that we're talking about here. So again, that Route 30 closed. You are not going to be able to get through. I'm sure that pretty soon we'll be hearing from the Department of Transportation, giving us a better insight on what different ways you can take, routes you can take, so that you can still get home. Maybe you're trying to make it from work, or maybe you're just trying to get out, go to a friend's house, whatever it may be. Hopefully we'll be able to get a better idea of different ways that you can take to get around this mess. But again, very much so developing situation where we've got an 18-wheeler that went off the road, and it looks like a some sort of construction vehicle collided with it. Again, we're trying to bring you the latest that we have, but that's what I have there on that. We'll check back in on how this situation is unfolding in just a little bit. Hopefully, we haven't heard anything about any potential victims in this case, but hopefully everybody has been okay after this horrifying crash. All right, I did want to talk to you all about the election, because tomorrow in Pennsylvania is actually election day. It's a very big deal. It's our primary. I hope that you're planning to get out there and vote. Despite the heat, I hope that you are making a plan. I mean, if you need to bring an umbrella to keep the sun off of your back, that's what you need to do. But this is going to be an election you don't want to miss. So let's go over some of the key races, because again, there's a lot at stake here. We actually have an article up already for you guys. Isabella from our digital team put it together, and it's very, very complete. So the first race that we're all keeping our eyes on, of course, is the Pennsylvania governor race. So right now our incumbent is Democrat Josh Shapiro, but let's say maybe you're not interested in keeping him. Who is he running against? Republican Stacey Garrity. So again, we've got more information. You'll be able to read bios for them, quick little information just in case you didn't do research ahead of time. We've done it for you all. Here's what you need to know about each particular person. Now, why this race in particular matters, although the primaries are usually uncontested, the governor's race is expected to become Pennsylvania's top statewide political battle heading into November. So again, May 19th is the big day. This is going to be really big. We're also keeping our eyes on the 3rd Congressional District. This is a Democratic primary. So we're looking at Alice Stanford, Sharif Street, Chris Rabb, Sean Griffith. These are the contestants in this particular race. And they're saying that this particular race matters because it's supposed to be one of the most competitive and high-profile House races in Pennsylvania. That is according to all of the election officials, people who study this like for a living. All of the people are saying that this is going to be the race to keep your eyes on. We're also looking over the 7th Congressional District, which is another Democratic primary. Carol Abando Durstein is one of the people running. We've also got Bob Brooks, Lamont McClure, Ryan Crosswell, and they're saying that District 7 is one of the most competitive congressional districts. It could also play a role in determining the control of the U.S. House, which largely, I believe, has been Republican controlled up to this point. So, you know, what could happen moving forward? That's a big thing that everybody's keeping their eyes on. We also know that whoever wins that particular race will face off against the Republican nominee in November, and any third party or even independent candidates if they qualify for the ballot. Another race that we're keeping our eyes on is the 10th Congressional District, another Democratic primary. Justin Douglas is facing Janelle Stelson. Now, once again, we've got a lot of information on these people. If you want to read up real quick, just a couple of bullet points so that you know and you recognize these names when you get your ballot. They're saying that this race matters because it's considered a competitive seat heading into November's election. It's also, we're keeping an eye on electoral history, demographics in that area. A lot is at play here, and whoever wins this race, once again, will face the Republican nominee in November, or a third party or even independent candidates who qualify for the ballot. And then last but not least, Pennsylvania's 1st Congressional District, once again another Democratic primary. We've got Bob Harvey, we've got Lucia Simonelli. This race in particular matters because District 1, it's located in the burbs, Bucks County we're talking about here. It's one of the most politically competitive areas in Pennsylvania. This nominee will likely face Republican incumbent Brian Fitzpatrick, one of the Republicans' most prominent moderates in Congress. So he is running unopposed in the primary, and we'll wait and see who could run against him. And I'm sorry, I said that that was the last one, but there is one more that I want to put in front of you guys. This is House District 100. Now, this is a Republican primary. So Dave Nisley is going to face off with Kelly Osborne, and they're saying that this particular race matters because it includes a mix of rural, small town communities. So they're really hoping that you guys get out there and vote. Now, while it's smaller than some of the statewide and congressional contests that we're seeing, this particular race could determine control of the Pennsylvania legislature, as I mentioned before. And Democrats currently hold a 1-seat majority for Pennsylvania. So very big deal here. Every seat in Pennsylvania House is up for election in 2026. Even local primaries could have bigger implications later on this year. So I mentioned before that these are the races. These are the elections that really truly matter. When you're thinking about, you know, different qualms that you may have with the area that you live in, or maybe you're elevating up to other higher leadership like the mayor, the governor, or even the president, I want you to take a close look at your local leaders, the people who represent you on the most local basis. Did you vote? Did you vote? And if the answer is no, then, you know, how can you be upset about what's happening? I want you to know that you do have control. You do have a say in what happens in the future for your kids, for nieces and nephews, for friends, for yourself. This is the perfect time to voice what you want. Let people know what you want to be known. Now, again, we are keeping our eyes on that situation where that 18-wheeler went off the roadway. Has our chopper left that area, you guys? Okay, yes, it does look like we left that area. The latest information that I was able to get for you all was that 18-wheeler collided in some way, shape, or form with what I believe to be a construction vehicle. We're still trying to get more information on whether or not people are injured in this case, but that is what I have there on that. And I also want to remind you all that this is an interactive chat. So on YouTube, on TikTok, all of that good stuff, I'm actually able to see what you guys are saying. If you've got a question for me, for a reporter, anybody, just let me know and we can get right into it together right here on Philadelphia Live. That's what I do best. All right, I'm taking a look. It is 8:26. There are a lot of big things happening. District Attorney Krasner from Pennsylvania actually spoke out a little earlier today, and he mentioned some changes that he wants to happen as it pertains to the election. And what we're talking about here, I believe he's launching some, let me make sure that I've got this right. He's launching an election task force. Now, we only have a couple of minutes, but I want to let you listen into just a little bit of why he says we need something like that.
This being an election week, and a very important election week, the main topic for today will, of course, be that election. We are joined by some people who know a lot about elections. We are joined very importantly by Chairman Omar Sabir of the Philadelphia City Commissioner's Office, with whom we work closely to make sure these elections are free, fair, and final, to make sure every single vote is counted, and to make sure that everyone feels comfortable voting. Part of the reason people do feel comfortable voting is that we also have with us ADA Vincent Corrigan, ADA Brian Collins, and ADA Karima Yelverton, all three of whom form the election task force. That is one of the hats they wear, but it's an important hat. And come tomorrow, starting early and going very late, what will be going on is that this room, this giant room where you all are, will be full of assistant district attorneys. There will be a hotline, and we're going to announce that number. We will be receiving calls, and we will be assisting in the process of either advising or investigating those calls with our partners. What partners? The DA's detectives, Philadelphia police, federal partners. Law enforcement has a job to uphold people's civil rights, their individual rights, and obviously an absolutely essential foundational civil individual right is the right to vote. Something that we're going to hear more about from Chairman Sabir in just a moment. I do want to start, however, by saying there's a lot of good reasons to vote. Obviously, vote your conscience, vote for whatever candidate you prefer. And one of the good reasons to vote is that this year we are enjoying remarkable levels of public safety. I just want to show you what I saw this morning as I checked, like I often do, to see what was going on. What I saw is that the number of homicides to date, to this day, in the city of Philadelphia through the 17th of May was 48. 2025 was a record year. On the same day, it was 80. And if you go back a little farther pretty quickly, you're going to see 2022 when it was 180. We're at 48. If we look at the other two low years that are held on this dashboard, this is the Philadelphia Police dashboard, you see they are at 88. We're at 48, okay? This is remarkable. We are looking at levels of homicides that resemble the 1960s. I was born in 1961. We are looking at levels that are, frankly, from any criminologist's perspective, surprising and surprisingly positive. None of that takes away the pain that people suffer, the trauma they suffer, or the fear that they have in neighborhoods where there are still a number of shootings and a number of homicides. None of it will even enter the thinking of a family who have lost a loved one. But you are actually safer walking down the street than you were 10 years ago. You are actually safer going to the polls tomorrow, sunny day or not, than you were 10 years ago. And that's important because it should make you feel comfortable voting, but it's also important because your vote affects this. Your vote determines where money goes. Let me just give you an example. And no, this is not to suggest that you should vote for any candidate or any party. The Philadelphia DA's office has a gun violence task force. This is a joint effort between state agents and Philadelphia ADAs. That gun violence task force needs money. And that gun violence task force has gotten money from the state, it has gotten money from the city, and it has done an amazing job working with partners to take down YBC, to take down O to the 4. We've talked about this before. The point is, your vote makes that difference. You vote for people who want you to be safe and are willing to invest in it, it makes a difference. You vote for people who just want to take the money for themselves and run off with it, then you might not be as safe. That's actually how this works. So I would encourage every Philadelphian who is able to vote to do what I'm going to do tomorrow. Get up in the morning, go to the polls. It's going to be a hot day. Go early or go late, or if you want to go when there's no line, go in the middle of the day. But for goodness sakes, go. As the great Marion Tasco used to say, vote like your life depends on it, because it does. All right.
Yeah, he's not lying there. It does. Once again, if you have grievances, if you want things to be fixed, if you want to feel like you actually you play a part in your local government, I mean, this is the very baseline of how you do that. You vote in the primary. So Yes, that is tomorrow. Again, we'll be going over a couple of more things that you may need to know before you get out to the polls a little later on in the show. But I want to take a live look at Citizens Bank Park because, again, we are keeping our eyes on the Phillies. How are our guys doing out there? I'm taking a look at the score. It's the bottom of the 7th, and we are tied. Can we break that tie, though? Let's get right on out to Breland Moore from our sports team. Breland, you guys have been doing all the things with all the sports in the Fantastic Sports Show. I wanted to bring you on here just to talk to me a little bit. How have you been seeing this game go along? Are we doing pretty good? Oh, hold on, you guys. I don't think Breland can hear me. Just in case she can't, let's take another look out at Citizens Bank Park. We'll try to get her mic up in just a second, or see if maybe for whatever reason, maybe she couldn't hear me based on some technical difficulties. But if she can actually hear you, Caitlin, maybe just leave that open. So, Breland, I was asking the people, you know, how are our guys doing? Are we doing pretty good out there? I know right now we're tied.
On here, but I think you just asked me about the Phillies. Yeah, they're tied. They're tied 3-3 here in the 7th, and it's been a pretty solid game back and forth here. Alec Boehm getting a homer, a lot of sac flies as well going on there. But yeah, the Phils are doing extremely well. And after a really great road trip, they're back home here, starting that 3-game series with the Reds tonight. So definitely really exciting stuff going down at Citizens Bank Park.
That one of the big questions that you guys asked during the Fantastic Sports Show, you were asking people about being bandwagons. Like, walk me through that question of the day, and then how did people respond?
Yeah, so it was weird. I wanted to know if people were back on the Phils bandwagon and making sure, just kind of a little pulse check on the fan base now that they're over 500 and have had this really great turnaround since the firing of manager Rob Thompson. And 76% of people said they're not believing it just yet. It's still too early. They need to see more, but they are not back yet, which was a little bit surprising considering how well they've been doing. So hopefully, you know, maybe we can check back in like a couple weeks and hopefully get that answer up a little bit more. Now, we did get some tweets from some viewers that were watching and said, you guys missed an option. We never left. So we should have probably put that up there as well. But yeah, 76% of people are not buying it just yet, which was fascinating.
It is interesting too, because I mean, you mentioned that we're doing pretty well, and you know, not for nothing. Ever since Don Mattingly became the interim manager, we have won every single series. Like, that is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, absolutely not. I saw a stat from Destiny Lugardo. She is the beat writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer for the Phils, and it was it might have been like last week. She put this out there that this is the first team to win 5 consecutive series after losing 6 consecutive since the 2005 Mets. And obviously they have gone on to win several more series since that article came out. But I just thought it was really fascinating, and the level of turnaround has been miraculous. And hopefully now we just have to figure out, is this sustainable or not? And so far, it's looking pretty good.
Okay. Well, from the Phils, who again, we're tied right now at the bottom of the 8th. Excuse me. Oh, sorry, top of the 8th. Okay, we started a new inning. From the Phillies, I wanted to talk about the Eagles. You know, I wasn't here. I was unfortunately sick, but I heard that we got our new schedule for the NFL season. Do you remember roundabouts when preseason will begin for the Eagles, and then when that first home game is?
Not off the top of my head, I'm going to be honest.
Okay,
I know they play the Commanders. The schedule's all over the place, though. A lot of really short weeks, 7 primetime games. Preseason, we don't have schedules yet. We won't get that for quite some time. But yeah, it's going to be really an interesting season. It's great for the fans, I think. But in terms of covering a team and having to be boots on the ground as a journalist, working a game on Thanksgiving and on Christmas is tough. So pray for your Eagles beat writers. They're going to be very busy over the next couple of months here and trying to navigate all of that. But yeah, definitely exciting. And then of course, as we already knew, The London game as well is always really great when you can have an international game and not lose a home game because of it. So definitely a really awesome schedule, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, incredible. Last question that I have to ask you. It's not necessarily about the guys and how they're doing or whatnot, but you know, I am new to Philadelphia. I want to rep the Birds. I wanted to know a little bit about merch. As you can see, I'm a girly girl. Do you have any ideas of places where I can go get stuff?
I mean, yeah, you can find Eagles gear anywhere. And you walk in anywhere and you can find an Eagles gear. I always just get all my stuff from the pro shop down at the link. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's every single store that sells apparel will sell something with Eagles. So we'll get you hooked up.
That's so funny to me. I'm actually here from the back here. He's like, yeah, everywhere.
Yeah.
I see that it's true. I'll let you go because I know that you still have to get things ready for the 10 o'clock news. And also you're watching the game just like the rest of us. But I just want to let the audience know that I got to go out to the Italian Market Festival the other day, actually Sunday. Super duper hot. But the big thing there is they were selling a lot of merch, a lot of gear and stuff, and there was actually a whole tent that had a bunch of Philadelphia sports gear. And I saw some bombers that had Eagles, it's all green, got the logo and whatnot on the back. And I was so close to getting it, but then I was like, I don't want something that everybody's gonna have. And so, maybe I'll have to get something custom made or whatnot. Like, I gotta put my own little swag on it. Because yes, I'm here in Philadelphia now, but some part of me still needs to feel like New Yorkish, So yeah, maybe I got to get something made, and then I'll feel like completely at home. Well, you guys, big news still coming up. We've been talking to you guys about coronavirus for like the last couple of weeks, but did you know Ebola is back, or at least back in the headlines? We'll be talking about everything you need to know about it when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. Do you remember Ebola? Because apparently it's back in our headlines. We're hearing that there's been an outbreak, and actually some health officials are taking this extremely seriously and say that you should be taking it seriously as well. So this particular outbreak that we heard about over the weekend in Africa, they have now declared it a global health emergency. That is from the WHO, the World Health Organization. They are the ones putting that information out there. So right now they're saying that the Ebola disease outbreak is in the Congo area and also Uganda. Again, they are calling this a health emergency of international concern. So some of Africa's top health officials, they did confirm this new Ebola outbreak in Congo's province on Friday. By Saturday, they were already reporting 336 suspected cases and 88 deaths. Now, they say that all of the cases are in Congo except for 2 that were recorded in the neighboring Uganda. So this particular outbreak, they say, is caused by something called the Bundibujo virus. It's a rare variant of the Ebola disease that has no approved therapeutics or even vaccines, which of course makes it very difficult to fight, to treat, all of that. More than 20 Ebola outbreaks have taken place in Congo and Uganda, including 17 in the Congo since the disease first emerged in the country back in 1976. But this is only the 3rd time that the Bundibujo virus has been reported. So again, they are saying that this is a global health emergency. They say that this particular outbreak does not meet the criteria for a pandemic level emergency. So I wanted to make sure that you guys are aware. They are not comparing this to the coronavirus per se, where everybody needs to be on high alert or everyone needs to quarantine or anything like that. But they are keeping their eyes on it, and they are suggesting big concern that this could, definitely impact more people. Right now, it seems to be that only the continent of Africa has something to worry about. But, a lot of people travel, people go different places. So we're just going to keep our eyes on it. And, I just know that this is interesting and probably also irritating to some of you guys to hear about, because we were just talking to you about the hantavirus, which, by the way, is still a thing. They are still in quarantine. We know that some of those passengers who were on that cruise ship have made it back to the United States, have made it back, some of them, to their home countries, but are still being watched over. And they're supposed to be doing that for the next, it's going to be like high 30-something days that they're still going to be kept an eye on. So, big news coming to you all that is from outside of the U.S., but it is still very much so important that I bring it out onto you guys. So now, I mentioned that the hantavirus is still very much so in our headlines. I want to talk about how that cruise ship actually made its final stop. This is for the Netherlands. They made that stop today. So the big thing that they're trying to do here is disinfect the ship. So as we all know, April 1st, that is when that particular cruise ship went off to sea from Argentina. We know about 150 passengers and crew members were really excited about getting out there, excited about having a vacation to themselves. They were only supposed to be on the water for, I think, a couple of weeks, and that turned into a little over a month. And now, for some of them, still aren't able to go home. We know actually there's an influencer that's been keeping everybody up to date with everything that's been going on. I know a lot of you guys have been asking questions about why is this the only person that we're seeing, this the only person that we're hearing from. And that is because that is one of the few people who are comfortable enough to talk about what's happening with them. I can tell you for certain, I know because I have gotten to talk with some of these people and gotten responses back, that a lot of them are receiving a lot of hate from people on the internet, people that they don't know, just because they put it out there that they were one of the people on this cruise ship. So it is a very big deal. A lot of people aren't really comfortable speaking out publicly, but then there are some people like that influencer who are used to being in the public eye, whether it's hate, love. They're used to people, for lack of better words, talking about them. And so that's why we're seeing some of the same people over and over again. It's not because there aren't more people affected, just not everybody's comfortable speaking to the media. Now that ship that I was telling you about, it arrived in the Rotterdam port. And so the ship's owner, Oceanwide Expeditions, says that the crew will now embark. The vessel will be completely disinfected, and Dutch authorities are reportedly preparing for quarantine arrangements for the remaining crew and staff members on board. It's not clear how long the non-Dutch crew will be in quarantine, because of course at some point they're gonna have to go home too. But Oceanwide Expedition says that none of the people who remain on the ship are currently symptomatic, which is great news. helping us stop the spread here. And we just hope that that continues. As I mentioned to you all before on several other streams, they're saying that this particular strain, the Andes virus of the hantavirus, shows up somewhere between a week to maybe even 8 weeks after you have been infected or around someone exposed to the virus. So, people will be keeping their eyes on those crew members, but right now it looks like none of them are symptomatic, which is great. Now, according to the WHO, remember that World Health Organization that I told you all about, the hantavirus outbreak on the ship earlier this month killed 3 people. We know of 3 confirmed deaths in this case. The company says that the ship will likely return to services once it has been cleaned. And just got a quick question for you all. Would you get on a cruise after hearing some news like that? Would you get on that particular ship after hearing some news like that? Maybe your answer is no, maybe it's yes. But then you got to think, what was that cruise line? They made a whole movie out of it, and I think it was a documentary. It was like the poop cruise. People were still willing to, if that was still out, people were willing to get on that ship after it was cleaned. So, but then again, poop, a disease that could kill you. I guess I understand. All right. Another big thing that happened a little earlier today, if we can actually take a live look out at the White House, President Donald Trump made an interesting announcement. So he said earlier today that he wanted to make a major expansion to his prescription drug website, TrumpRx. He actually was with a couple of other officials when he talked about it. He says that this particular website would list discounted prescription drugs that have been negotiated and priced by his own administration. He says that this should be a good way for people out there, you and I, who need medication but don't want to pay an arm and a leg for it, to be able to get it at a better price. And the big thing here, if I understand correctly, is that they're trying to take out the middleman. So I want to let you listen into what the president had to say a little earlier.
.gov, a brand new website featuring the largest discounts on prescription drugs in the history of our country, the history, frankly, of any country. And for decades, Americans paid the highest drug prices anywhere in the world by far. But under the most favored nation agreements I negotiated, we now pay the lowest price paid for anybody in any country. We went from the highest to the lowest, and I think outside of maybe a cure itself, it's the biggest thing to happen to healthcare and everything having to do with medical in any way, shape, or form. There's never been anything like this. We think of it, we went from the most expensive to the least expensive. So we've slashed the price of dozens of commonly used prescription drugs by differences of 400, 500, and even 600%. In my first term, I got it down 1/8 of 1%. It's the first time in 28 years it went down 1/8 of 1, and now we're talking about 4, 5, and 6, and even 700%, including for weight loss drugs, fertility treatments, insulin, and much, much more. Since that launch in February, TrumpRx.gov has already been visited more than 10 million times and has saved American consumers over $400 million already, and it's really the hottest thing in medicine. It's been amazing. I asked Dr. Oz, how's it doing? Bobby was there. He said, nobody's ever seen anything like this, so it's great. People are saving a lot of money. Over the next 10 years, the Council of Economic Advisors estimates that our most favored nation drug policies will save Americans over $500 billion. And this has been the greatest breakthrough in lowering healthcare costs in modern history. But we're just sort of getting started, actually, because we have a lot more to come. So today I'm thrilled to announce that we're increasing the number of drugs available on TrumpRx by nearly 7 times, adding over 600 affordable generics to the website, working with industry partners. Cost-effective generic drugs are often available at just a tiny fraction of the price of their brand name equivalents, and in theory, they're the same thing. Sometimes they're better, with the same dosage, the same effectiveness, and the same active ingredients, yet many consumers do not think to ask for them. They don't know about them. By incorporating this massive catalog of low-cost generics at TrumpRx.gov, consumers will now have one source to ensure that they're getting the lowest possible cost on their prescription. So they have a real option now. Today, they have something that they've never had before. They've never had anything like this or even close. With these additions, Trump RX will feature the best and lowest prices on prescriptions used by tens of millions of Americans already. And in some cases, the discounted generics available through Trump RX may be offered at an even lower cash price than the out-of-pocket insurance cost, which has always been the lowest, but we're going to be lower. This means that the TrumpRx.gov should always be your first stop before you go to the pharmacy to pick up your prescription, and you'll certainly be checking on your pharmacy by doing this, and at a minimum, you'll know what you're supposed to be paying. I want to thank the leaders of several major pharmacies and generic drug makers who are partnering with us on this effort, including the co-founder of Cost Plus Drugs, Mark Cuban. Mark, thank you very much. Mark, looking good, Mark. Come here, Mark. Nice to meet you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We have the same thing, one thing in common. We want to make people better and keep them wealthy, right? Good. Good to be with you. Vice President of Amazon Pharmacy, Tanvi Patel. Thank you very much. And the President of RX Marketplace at GoodRx, Aaron Crittenden. Aaron, thank you very much. Great job you're doing. With these companies as partners, we're also getting and adding new tools to take over websites which will connect patients with the lowest price pharmacy right in their own neighborhood, or alternatively give them the option of getting a discounted prescription shipped straight to their door. They can have it delivered right to their front door. This will provide American consumers with new options, more savings, and unprecedented price transparency, putting billions and billions of dollars back into the pockets of hardworking Americans. What a difference it's going to make at the end of a week. For generations, drug prices have only gone up, and under my administration, for the first time in history, drug prices are coming down, and they are coming down very, very dramatically and substantially. Politicians from both parties promised for decades to make health care more affordable, but they all failed, every single one of them. And when they thought they had it, they couldn't get other countries to go along. I got all the other countries to come along. I said, you don't come along, we're going to tariff you. And they all said, we'd love to come along, sir. But I'm actually getting it done, and I don't care how I do it, I got to get it done for the people. I want to thank the incredible team behind this historic accomplishment, including Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Bobby, Administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz. What a team this is. And Chief Counselor of Health and Human Services, Chris Klump. And I also especially have to thank the genius behind the world-class website that will soon be serving hundreds of millions of Americans, Airbnb co-founder and Chief Design Officer of the United States, Joe Gebbia, who's really amazing, and Ed Korstein, and the team at the National Design Studio, which is as good as you get. Under my America by Design executive order, Joe and his design team have been working to make your government more beautiful, more modern, convenient, and effective. In addition to the TrumpRx website, they've built the amazing experience behind TrumpAccounts.gov and the new food pyramid, Freedom 250, and much more. They're doing a job for the country like I can say design-wise nobody has ever seen. So, Joe, please show us how TrumpRx is bringing the modern face to healthcare and really helping us to save lots of money and lots of lives. Joe, please, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. In just months, TrumpRx has accomplished what Washington said couldn't be done. Those numbers you shared represent huge savings at real scale for real Americans. And none of this would be possible without your leadership and your belief that Americans deserve better health. So today's great announcements of more drugs, more pharmacies, and home delivery are making healthcare simpler and smarter for Americans. Let's go live to the new TrumpRx experience. So that $400 million saved for Americans, that means better living and less stress for millions of families. So let's browse some of those medications. Immediately, you'll see a new section called Presidential Deals. These are some of the most affordable brand name drugs.
All right, so you guys are getting a look at Trump RX, the website that they're talking about there. As they mentioned, their whole plan is that they're hoping to expand this whole thing. They say that they want people to be able to get their prescription drug medication at cheaper prices by cutting out the middleman. As you heard there, Mark Cuban from the Shark Tank was even there. So just an interesting group of folks together, but you know, that is an option for you guys if that is something that you're interested in. But hey, we have some breaking news. I just wanted to bring it out to you all before we take a quick step back and move on to our next big story. But Cameron Scrivens from our digital team just wrote an article that is available for you on the Free Fox Local app or the website. It says that a teen was critically injured in a hit and run right here in Philadelphia. And the way that it was actually reported to police is pretty interesting, so stick with me here. So they're saying that that teenager is in critical condition. They were struck by a car. This was around 3 p.m. near Cotman Avenue and Horrocks Street, just in case you are familiar with this area that I'm talking about here. That teenager was only 16 years old. They say that he was crossing the street when he was hit by a Jeep Liberty. Now, that car did not stop. The driver went off. And so someone who witnessed everything that happened, they actually followed that car, found that car parked, gave police a description of the suspect, a description of the vehicle. Police eventually found that car where they made an arrest. So I'm sorry. Let me take a step back. They did find the car. They did not find the person who was driving it. Police have not announced any arrests or any charges at this particular time. They said that they're going to have to review the evidence and then determine what led to the crash. But again, the information that I do have here, this is just coming into the newsroom, so bear with me here, is that there was a 16-year-old boy. He was crossing the street. He was hit by a Jeep Liberty. He is in critical condition, and he was rushed to the Albert Einstein Medical Center, where he has severe injuries to both his head and his leg. So that is the information that I have. They say the driver left the scene. If I get more information, I'll try to bring that out to you live right here on Philadelphia Live. But when we come back, you all know that the World Cup is coming. FIFA is in full force here in Philadelphia. A lot of big fans are going to be heading our way. We're talking about probably thousands of people, international visitors as well, just flocking to our area ready for the big game. So we'll be touching base with Jeff, one of our reporters, on how the cookie's going to crumble when we come back. back to Philadelphia Live. If you are a World Cup fan, if you love soccer, if you're excited for FIFA to come to our area, boy, do I have a story for you. SEPTA just announced that they're adding some extra service, so it'll give you a better way to get there for cheap. I want to bring things over to Jeff, who has been reporting on this for us. At 10 o'clock, he'll have a full package for you guys, ready for you all. But Jeff, what have you been learning about this new deal?
Philadelphia is gearing up for 6 World Cup matches and, of course, FIFA Fan Festival. Tonight, organizers and city officials updating local residents on Lemon Hill and Fairmount Park, everything they need to know ahead of this. And look, construction is about to get underway. May 26th on Tuesday, they will begin construction on Lemon Hill to get all the festivities going. And city leaders updating those local residents on what to expect during an hour-long Zoom call tonight. The 39-day event beginning June 11th through July 19th is expected to be the biggest fan fest for the World Cup in the entire country. Fans can expect watch parties, games, activities, 80 food trucks with ties to the Philadelphia area. And even though it's free to attend, officials want to make this clear tonight. You must register to join. To enter the secure premises, you must register online. SEPTA is also adding extra bus services to the area in Fairmount Park, and there will be designated rideshare pickup and drop-off locations. There's major road closures, including Benjamin Franklin Parkway. Portions of Benjamin Franklin Parkway will be closed beginning Memorial Day through Labor Day. And also this is the biggest thing that came out of this meeting tonight: parking. Residents on Lemon Hill, they must apply for free parking passes. They must get those permits from the Philadelphia Parking Authority. They can apply online or in person. Only parking in the Lemon Hill area is for residents. We have to make that crystal clear. If you do not have a parking permit in that area, the PPA says they will ticket and tow you. You must apply for free parking in that area. And organizers cannot stress this enough to take public transportation to that area, even ride shares. It's going to be probably very difficult to access. We'll have much more on our website and, of course, coming up at 10 o'clock on Fox 29 News.
Jeff, that is big news, because I hope you can hear me. I was hearing that there were some residents who were thinking, hoping, praying that they could sell those kind of permits or whatever was going to come out to people who may want to go to FanFest or go to the game. So are we thinking that that's not on the table anymore? If it's not your particular car that permit is issued to, you can't use it or sell it?
The parking passes, really, to apply, you have to have proof of address. Now, there are some floating parking passes that can be given to maybe the elderly that need care that comes into the home and things like that, and some of the local businesses. But as far as passing them out and things like that, those parking spots are really, really, really restricted for the businesses and the residents on Lemon Hill.
Got it. I mean, and then now it makes sense why they're also expanding service. We were talking in our meeting a little earlier today. One of the biggest concerns was, what about people who take public transportation every single day? Like, would they be impacted? So I think that's going to be something that we're looking at here, but it sounds like if we're adding more lines, we should be all right. If you take...
Yeah, SEPTA is adding a few extra lines to the sports complex, as well as adding extra bus lines to the Fairmount Park area, specifically for FIFA Fan Fest. So they're doing everything they can to be able to get people to and from that area. Again, it's going to be open an hour before matches, an hour after matches for that 39-day stretch of the World Cup. And they're going to try to get on as many games and matches as possible during the World Cup. But SEPTA's doing everything they can to get public transportation, get people to and from those events, and of course, for everyone that relies on public transportation throughout the city.
Really big stuff. One last question for you. Are you planning on getting out to any of it?
We'll see. Depends on the parking.
All right.
Depends on the parking.
That's been Jeff reporting for us. If you guys want to know even more about FanFest, if you want to know even more about FIFA World Cup, what's to come with SEPTA, you're going to want to look out for his report at 10 o'clock. He has so much more available for you guys. We also actually have a website, up right now, an article called SEPTA to add extra service for FIFA World Cup events in Philadelphia. Our digital team put that together, so if you want to look more into some of those areas that he said were going to be closed off, or some of the areas where you will need a pass, otherwise you will not be able to get through, we have that available for you right now on the free Fox Local app and on fox29.com. All right, you guys, huge news. We were hearing that there is a historic church in Wilmington, Delaware that over the weekend, Sunday, literally just hours before people were coming to worship and celebrate and, you know, share their religion, we heard that there was a huge fire that just devastated that historic church. And we also got to hear from law enforcement and officials from the church a little earlier on today. I want to give you guys an idea of what exactly took place there. What are they trying to do moving forward? Was anybody injured? All of that stuff will be answered in this press conference. Let's listen into just a little bit of it together.
I want to thank everyone for coming out today. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Dr. Ron Whitaker, and I am the chair of the Delaware Interfaith Council, but for the purpose of why we are gathered today, I'm also the current senior pastor of the historic Mother African Union Church. We are also the host of the August Quarterly Revival Festival. Before I get into my remarks, we're going to hear from several individuals today. I want us to start by welcoming our longtime senior pastor, Pastor Livingston, who served the Mother African Union Church for 22 years. He's going to offer up some remarks, and then after that we will hear from Bishop George Gibson, who is the president of IMAC. Come on, let's celebrate Bishop Gibson. And then also Minister Robert, who is the local representative for the Honorable Louis Farrakhan here at Mosque 35, in that order.
I want to thank everyone for being here. My name is Reverend Dr. Lawrence Livingston, as Pastor Whitaker has already said, and I had the honor and privilege to serve this congregation for 22 years, from 1998 to 2020. And what I want to say to you all today is, when you come and look at this building, you're looking at something that represents a sense of community. It doesn't just represent, first of all, it does represent the congregation who worships here, the congregation who reaches out into the community here, the congregation that lost their edifice that they come to weekly. That's first and foremost of what we lost here in this fire. But also, this represents not only them, but it represents all the people who have walked through these doors over the last many, many years. People walk through these doors in things like the Kwanzaa camp, not just children, but their families. Things like the Freedom School, not just the children, but their families. Community meetings. We had many community meetings because this is not just a sanctuary for the congregation to worship. This is an auditorium for the community to come and gather whenever there's a need or a word that needs to be said. And so that is also a significant part of the community. Not only that, it represents, as I almost said Bishop Whitaker, but Reverend Whitaker has said, it represents history. This represents history going all the way back to 1813 in this country. This congregation was the first incorporated African American congregation in the country, not just in Wilmington, but in the entire nation, and that's significant. Also, he said, and I'm sure he's probably going to say more about this later, but also he said about the August Quarterly event, the big quarterly that happens every year in August. That has been happening every year since 1814, brought here by Peter Spencer,
If you're a Delawarean, you need to remember the name Peter Spencer. His name is right up there with the founding fathers. So this church, this building represents the church, the community of faith, of course, the community as a whole, the city of Wilmington, the state of Delaware, and even the nation in terms of what it represents. And again, I want to thank all of you for being here today to support this pastor and this congregation. But also, I pray that you would, when you leave, you would recognize that this church supports so much more than is what is represented here today. And last but definitely not least, and I'll end on this word because I can feel a hook coming. I can feel a hook coming. It represents the Word of God in this community, in this city, and in this state. And boy, do we need to hear from the Lord now. Thank you.
Well, good morning to you all. My name is Bishop Georgie Gibson II. I'm the president of IMAC, the Interdenominational Ministers Action Council of Delaware. I just want all of the IMAC pastors, please, to just wave your hand. We have come, sir, to support you and the Motherland Nation and to let you know how much we care for you. So as the world gasped in horror on Monday afternoon in 2019 as the site of the Paris Notre Dame Cathedral burned in the cataclysmic movement, we gasped in dismay today while the historical landmark here at the Motherland Nation went up in flames yesterday morning. While the parishioners and people wept for the Notre Dame Cathedral yesterday, we, with the Motherland Nation, wept for your place and space of worship. While relics and artifacts were forever lost and destroyed at Notre Dame, memorials and memories and historical articles were lost here. While a 900-year historical monument was consumed, yesterday a 213-year historical landmark was destroyed, but its people were not defeated. Yes. At Notre Dame, a cross stood tall in the midst of the flames as a beacon to the nation. The building may be lost, but the church is intact. All right. The building was not the church, but it was where the church gathered. The cross will always stand, no matter what. It is the symbol of our redemption. So Dr. Ronald Whitaker, the state, the country, the county, the city, and the IMAC family have come this morning because we love you and we love the Motherland Nation. God is going to blow your mind, my brother. You're going to build faster, greater, and even stronger. I declare to you, my friend, I have not seen, nor ear heard, nor has it entered into the hearts of men what the Lord has in store for you. IMAC is praying for you and with you. You are a great visionary, and I can't wait to see the beauty that rises from the ashes and the embers. There's a story told about a prairie fire that happened in Wyoming, and while students were there in the grains and the fields, the prairie fire was whisking from place to place. So one time it's coming to the east, the next time it's coming from the west, and they were trying to figure out where to move to get out of the fire's destruction. And all of a sudden they heard the fire kindling behind them, and the older gentleman said, "Jump on this side, jump on this side." And they jumped over, and as they jumped over, the fire came where they were and stopped. They looked in amazement and was trying to figure out how did they get over to the other side without a singe or without a burning. And the old man said that fire cannot burn where fire has already been. I want to submit to you that Isaiah is a prophet that gives us good insight. Has thou not known? Has thou not heard? That the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, he fainteth not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding. He giveth power to the faint. To them that have no might, he increases strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young man shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as an eagle, run, not be weary, walk, and not faint. Whitaker, you have taught this congregation to be waiters and waitresses.
So as you guys are hearing there, I mean, the clergy members obviously very much so still holding fast to their church. We know that even though that fire seemed to have destroyed a lot of the structure, the bones are still standing. And I mean, some members say that to them, that right there is a testament to, you know, this chapter not being over for them, that their story there at the church is not over. I want to let you all know that they actually have put together a GoFundMe. The link to it is available on our website. Their goal is $150,000, and so far, let me just refresh my page just in case, but it looks like they have so far raised about $5,700. There are a number of people trying to give their money. We all know that this is a very, very old church here, and a lot of people don't want to see this be the end of their story. So that's what's happening there. We've got more information if you'd like to read more on the historic Mother African Union Church on our website. I also want to let you all know that breaking news for the Phillies, we actually just won our game. So the end score was 5-4. You're taking a look at the score, but you're also taking a live look at Citizens Bank Park. Fans went nuts. Pretty soon, we're expecting to have a live press conference. We'll hear from Don Mattingly, the interim manager, about what went right, what went wrong, what he wants to do for this next game ahead. Again, clearly we had a pretty good game there. We were able to pull out a win against the Cincinnati Reds, so I'm excited. I hope you are too. When we come back, we'll be on podium watch to see when he steps up and talks. I'll bring you out there live when that does happen. But we also need to go over some of the biggest news of today, which includes a home invasion where the suspect was shot and killed. We'll talk about all of that and more when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. Again, a lot of big news to bring to you in this hour. We're hearing about this record-breaking weather that we have been experiencing. We're talking about the heat. Now, here tomorrow is only going to get even hotter. I want to turn things over to our meteorologist, Kathy. Kathy, tomorrow a lot of people are going to be lining up at the polls. What are they expecting to experience out there?
In the morning, Judea, it's going to be quite warm in the 70s, and by noon we'll already be in the 90s, going for record-breaking heat again for day 2 out of day 3 of what we expect to be unusually hot weather. Now, right now we're looking at conditions that are pretty quiet out there. Today's high temperatures were well above average. Now, the normal high is 75, but in Philadelphia we made it to 96. Of course, a new record. A new record in Reading, it was tied at 96. Elsewhere, lots of 90s across the Delaware Valley. And it's very early for this, especially when we're talking about 3 90-degree days in a row, and they're all going to be record breakers. You can see we have a front to the west, but that is going to slowly move eastward, so not bothering us for tomorrow. Temperatures right now in the 80s for most of us, with the exception of our shore points, even in the neighborhoods. 80 in Westchester, 85 in Phoenixville, still holding on to 83 in Ardmore and 84 in Cinnaminson. So record highs coming our way. Tuesday, 98 is the forecast high. That would break the record of 96. And for Wednesday, forecasting 96. That would break the old record of 94 set back in 1996. Tomorrow we're expecting lots of 90s pretty much everywhere with the exception of the Poconos and the shore. 98 in Philadelphia, 97 in Medford and Glassboro, 96 in Reading, and in Pottstown in Westchester, 95. So let's look at the day for your Wednesday, starting off in the 70s, midday 90s. And there we go again. Wednesday would make an official heat wave. Heat advisory for tomorrow and Wednesday. That means the heat and humidity will combine to make it feel like it's in the upper 90s to around 100. So that is really something to look out for. It's not dangerous just yet. It's not excessive, but we haven't had heat like this. So let's look at the weather whiplash. This is the change that is coming. So for tomorrow and Wednesday, we're over 20 degrees above average. And then look at Thursday, a dramatic drop going 9 degrees below that average. And then Friday, even deeper into the freezer, so to speak, as temperatures may be struggling in the 50s. So this big ridge that builds in the east will be broken Thursday and Friday with some cooler air moving in. In the meantime, for the next couple of days, stay hydrated, check on the elderly and our pets. Make sure they get lots of water, take breaks, stay in the air conditioning. This heat will cause a stress on us because of the early onset and the consecutive days in the 90s. Next couple days in the 90s, then we're in the 60s. I mean, that is dramatically cooler. Friday 61, Saturday 60. Staying unsettled with some waves of precipitation possible throughout the weekend. It won't be raining everywhere all the time, Judea, but it definitely will be different in and out of those rain showers. We get stuck in these weather ruts in the month of May, and this one comes with some bad timing.
It's just so interesting to me to see, like, it's kind of like a whiplash for having this extremely hot, sunny weather, and it also comes with a little humidity, and then all of a sudden it's going to rain, it's going to cool down, and it's like, where's my equilibrium? How do I know how to dress every day?
We need a balance, and we have not had it yet.
Not yet, but we're going to keep our eyes out for it. I'm glad you were able to give us some of those tips of how to keep ourselves safe. Kathy, I actually want to talk the audience through a couple more. Before we do that, though, Don Mattingly actually just hit the podium for this post-game presser. You guys, the Philadelphia Phillies did win. Let's hear what he has to say.
To come from behind, you know, obviously the Pittsburgh game the other day, and we've had a couple other ones. I think we had one in, I think it was at home. We came from behind, tied it up, and wasn't able to finish it off. But it's nice to be able to come from behind. I think it gives guys the feeling that you're always in it, and you know it's really what you want. You know, playing 9 innings, 27 outs, and just keep playing.
How different has your lineup felt with both Bohm and Stott turning it around in the last few weeks?
Yeah, obviously, the more length you get, the more pressure you get on the other side. You know, the more those guys, you know, are swinging the bat. Obviously, Bowman tonight with the big home run to put us ahead, and then leading off that inning with the knock. You know, and Stott obviously just kind of continues to mash this month. So, yeah, nice.
What did you think of Painter's outing?
Really good, really good. And actually, he would have went back out if we didn't jump the lead there. At that point, we're into our guys in the back. Other than probably the one pitch, Keller has a guy in the hole and just probably trying to bounce a slider off the plate and just leaves one there. Stewart did a nice job there. But a lot of good things. Obviously, Trey's kind of starting the game off, Harp with a big walk. We put pressure on him right away. A couple of sac flies out of that, Sos and Garcia. It's just kind of that team effort tonight.
What have you seen from Bryson in the clutch situations with his approach in his at-bats this month?
I think his at-bats are always good. I mean, he's always got a plan, so I don't know if it's just in the clutch. It feels like all the time, but obviously he's hit some big home runs for us, down in Miami, and so, he's swinging the bat good. Again, the lineup, the deeper it gets, more guys are contributing. It takes pressure off the top. Those guys are going to carry the load for the most part, but you need, if you're going to have a good year, you need everybody kind of having good years.
Which Warbridge is totally unavailable tonight?
Yeah, unavailable tonight.
If you guys only tied the game in the 8th, would you have still eliminated the DH, put Bryce at first, or what would you have done in the 9th?
No, Stubbsy would have played first if it's tied, because I think he's going to be up either 5th or 6th that next inning, and once we get the lead, you want to defend with your guys and count on Duran doing his thing. So yeah, he would have played first. It's that kind of game, right? When you get that kind of game, you got a pinch run for Bomer there, a ball in the gap. You got to try to get it tied. Obviously, we were able to get the lead, so it was even better. But yeah, he would have played first.
What has Stubbs brought to the team since he's gotten called back up?
I think it's his versatility, right? He gives us a guy that, tonight we would have put him in first. We've put him in left. He's capable of playing third. He's caught a couple of games. He allows us to do different things. So Stubby's a nice piece to have, that third catcher, and be able to use him in different ways, but also be able to use other guys in different ways.
In the 8th, there looked like you had Kirkland ready for Steer, who's got really good numbers against lefties. They went out and did a mound visit. Why'd you leave Alvarado in there for Steer? Yeah,
we felt good about Alvy there. Looking back, once it happened, you're like, I could have went there. Really, we had him ready for Blade. If they would have, pinch hit there. Felt good about Alvy in that spot. He's been good. He's been throwing the ball really well.
Let me see if anybody. All right, so you heard from Don Mattingly there. I mean, we had a great game. He was really excited about how things were going. It was really interesting getting to hear him talk in some of these press conferences. It's like now I'm getting more of an idea of his personality. He seems to be very calm, cool, and collected. He keeps a level head, and maybe that's how the guys have been able to pull out all of these wins. If they all keep their eyes on the prize, they don't over-celebrate when they do really well, they don't beat themselves up when they don't do so hot, maybe that is the key to having a great season. And again, as I mentioned with Breland when we were talking a little earlier from the sports team, ever since he has been in charge, we've won every series. So they're doing something right. You guys, there's a lot of news to still get into. I'm hearing some breaking news that we'll get into after the break, but the LIRR, the LIRR, the Long Island Railroad, that strike has ended. We'll get into the details about it when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. We've got some breaking news for you all. The strike has ended. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but Long Island Railroad, that has actually been down. People have been protesting, on strike, boycotting, because for years now they have been asking for a better deal, for raises for workers, protecting riders and taxpayers, and now they've gotten a lot of what they've asked for. I want to bring you right out to a tweet from Governor Kathy Hochul from New York. She actually talked about everything that we're learning about this situation. So you're taking a look at it there. It says, tonight, the MTA reached a fair deal with the 5 LIRR unions that delivers raises for workers while protecting riders and taxpayers. I'm pleased to announce that phased LIRR service will resume beginning tomorrow at noon. Now, this is a really big deal, you guys. I mean, you can already see there are over 201,000 views on that tweet that just came out at around 8:41, so around 9 o'clock-ish is when she put that message out there, and she's already gotten that many views on that post. Just so you guys understand exactly what we're talking about here, we'll actually get into it in a second. I'm seeing that Phillies are having another press conference. Andrew Painter, the pitcher, is at the mound, if you will. Let's listen into what he has to say.
A lot. Made some good pitches to get back in counts, and luckily they were swinging, giving me those early outs.
Seems like a lot of growth the last two. What do you think?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think just learning how to deal with the runners on base and whatnot. Pretty soft contact in that second, so that the process doesn't change there. You just keep attacking guys.
These last couple of starts, has there kind of been an understanding going into the number of pitches you're going to be in the game for, or anything like that going into it?
No. My job is to just go out there and throw until they tell me not to anymore.
Do you like the plan right now, kind of managing?
Yeah, I mean, I trust every move that's being made out here. I just want to help the team win, and whatever that is, that's what I'm willing to do.
What has it been like kind of being part of this hot streak after maybe the team had a slow start in your first season?
It's awesome. The more games we win, the better, obviously. But it's something special to be. This is a special group, so it's definitely exciting to be a part of it.
It had been a while since you pitched in a win. How frustrating was that, and how nice does it feel to win tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it feels great. It feels great. Every time I go out there and toe the rubber, my job is to go help the team win. So I know it's been a rough last couple, but just glad I could go out there and do that.
We've had some comebacks lately as a team. Some of the guys have said down there, they said we're going to go back and win. What's the belief been like in the dugout?
Yeah, I think we all believe in everyone in that dugout, everyone in the clubhouse. We lean on each other. And we got to pick each other up. So I think there's confidence with everyone that comes up to the plate, everyone that comes, that toes that rubber. So the confidence continues to grow.
How satisfying was it to get that 6th inning start? I know that's something.
What did you say? Sorry.
How satisfying was it to get that 6th inning start? I know that's something you've been working toward.
Yeah, it was great. Obviously came a little short in Atlanta. Got 2 outs with in the 6th. So just being able to, cross that one off and get through that was a step in the right direction.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, a man of few words, but he gets it done every single time when it comes to the games. You guys were listening to Andrew Painter, the pitcher, talking a little bit about this game ahead. We were all laughing in here about the question that was asked. How does it feel to win? Essentially, that's what they asked him. And I mean, how else can you answer that? But great. So anyway, we got to listen in there to that post-game press conference. They were talking to some players in the clubhouse. They could potentially bring somebody else out. And if that does happen, we'll get out there live for you all. Don't worry, you won't miss a thing here on Philadelphia Live. Now, I was mentioning that strike being over for the LIRR. If you guys are New York commuters, you know how big of a deal this is. We're talking about roughly 250,000 commuters that use that rail system. Of course, it connects New York City to the suburbs every single day during the week. This is really big for people who work in the city and are just trying to get around and about. So while it was out of commission, I mean, people were upset. Earlier today, we actually heard they were offering free but limited shuttle buses this morning, evening rush hours, which left a lot of commuters trying to navigate the city. A lot of people aren't used to being pushed onto a bus or a train. Now, hold on. I see another Bryson Stott is up to talk to us now. Sorry, I'm getting all this as we get in. Let's listen in.
going to first, and I saw the exit velo board, and it said 44 degrees, so I was hoping for a double at least at that point.
Being able to contribute the way you have, this month especially, and then being a big part of this lineup, just what's been the key for you, and how satisfying has this stretch been for you?
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, I haven't really done much different. Just kind of was hitting the ball hard, and it just wasn't going my way. And I think a younger me would have had a new swing by now. So just staying with it and trusting it and going from there.
What have you made of Painter bouncing back the last 2 outings?
Yeah, I mean, he looks really good. He's got elite stuff, and I think once he knows that, I think you'll see a lot more outings like this. So.
This stretch this team has been on, finding ways to win, coming back from ways to win, just when you get on a run like this, just how sweet of a run this is for the team.
Yeah, I mean, especially after the way we started. Anytime you win a big league baseball game, it feels good, and we've been together for a long time now, and I think we just have that trust factor in each other that no matter the score, we know our pitchers are going to keep it within range, and we're going to have base runners, and you need that big swing, and I feel like we've been getting it a lot. So.
You mentioned the younger you might have had a new swing. When you are struggling, everybody says keep working, it'll change. But how hard is it actually to stay patient and wait for that to happen?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you go a month, it feels like, where you just, every time you hit it hard, it's right at someone, and then you break your bat, and then you have a better chance, it feels like. So, yeah, like I said, a younger me, I would have probably had a leg kick or something else by now. But just to keep going, and it gets frustrating for sure, putting good swings on it, swinging at the right pitches, and just not going your way. But I think once you've kind of played baseball long enough, you kind of understand, and just keep taking good swings at good pitches, and hopefully you don't hit it at someone.
You and Alec have both kind of turned it around. I mean, has that kind of been the key for both of you guys, just staying patient and doing what you've been doing?
Yeah, I mean, Bomer, he's going to hit, no questions, and just seeing him work every day and do the things that he does. Been seeing it since 2019, so he's going to hit, and he's a really good player.
I'm not saying you're a power hitter, but do you think this version of you've let it play out? Do you think you can hit for more power the way you've been swinging it, the way you've hit the ball hard so far?
I mean, I'm not going to go out there and try to hit homers all the time. Kind of never been that way, and kind of just hit doubles, and the mistakes, in a sense, that leave your bat high are the homers, and the more good swings you put on balls and hit the ball in the barrel, the better chance you have of getting those extra base hits. So.
Thank you.
Good.
All right, so you guys were just listening to Bryson Stott there, and I just want to point out, we actually heard that he hit the game winner in the 8th inning. So obviously the Reds couldn't come back from that. We're talking about a 2-run homer in the 8th inning. So this guy's a beast. And again, just interesting to hear another person talk so nonchalantly, but like pack so much power behind them. Now, as I mentioned, we're in the clubhouse. We could continue to hear from players. As soon as we get people, we are going to bring you out there live. I mentioned before, you are not going to miss anything here on Philadelphia Live. I'm doing my best to bring you guys, each person as they come up to the mic. So again, that was Bryson Stott that we just heard from. We heard from Andrew Painter not too long ago, and Don Mattingly a little bit before that. We're going to keep our eyes on it. I'm actually nervous to go ahead and talk about other stories, and I see they just turned the lights on, so it's possible that we've brought somebody else out. As a matter of fact, can we let's put me in a big little, so when somebody comes up, our audience can see what I'm seeing. All right, so interestingly enough, Jeff Skversky, who just did a hit with us, he was talking about the World Cup, has obviously been watching the Phillies-Reds game, because he tweeted not too long ago, Phillies have the best record in MLB since Don Mattingly took over. And then he, of course, tweeted out the record. He says it was 16-4 since April 28th, 9-19 before April 27th. So he's crediting Don Mattingly's leadership clearly as one of those things that's just bringing the guys together. So we're going to continue to watch how the guys continue to play. I mean, a lot of people are wondering this. He is the interim manager, so potentially one day somebody will take over for him. And the question is, when that does happen, you know, could we still come out on top? Was it a leadership issue? Are the guys playing better now that we have somebody else? Are they trying to prove themselves? You know, what is it? So a lot of people are wondering about that. Again, as we bring people up to talk to us about how this big game went, how it ended, we'll be bringing that out to you live. Like I said, I'm just a little scared to get off of it, but there is some big information that I need to bring you all. Let's skip ahead to the purse snatching, because we have some pretty incredible video to show you all. And I use the word incredible just to mean shocking. So you're taking a look right there. They say that a woman was drugged to the ground by a purse snatcher, and you can see it, like literally dragging her to the ground. She's trying to get herself up. They gave us the description of the suspect there in this case. They say that that woman was actually waiting for the bus in Philly when a purse snatcher came out of seemingly nowhere. This happening, of course, February 5th. You can see the snow still on the ground there. So we've been trying to figure out who would have done this to her. Police are hoping that somebody witnessed this, somebody knows something and maybe just hasn't said anything, or maybe that description speaks to you and you recognize somebody who fills that. Right now they're saying don't approach that suspect if you do see them, but reach out to 911 as soon as possible. They're hoping that anybody who recognized the suspect comes forward. Now, just to give you a little more background information, we're hearing that this took place in the 6900 block of Torresdale Avenue here in Philly. Again, they say the victim was just waiting for the bus when someone tried to take her bag, drug her to the ground, and then that man just runs off with her stuff. Police say that he was seen that night also on Diston Street. So again, if anybody knows anything, please help. They say that that suspect took the victim's wallet, her cell phone, her keys, and her ID cards. And I mean, you all know, once that stuff is taken, like, what do you do from there? That's really, like, especially your phone nowadays and your keys, like, you just took everything from me. So I'm sure she had to start over and is probably not feeling very good about that. We're hearing that this suspect is a 6-foot-tall man, had a beard, somewhere between 30 to 40 years old, and probably weighs about 210 pounds. They say he was wearing a blue and green striped shirt at the time, pair of blue jeans, and boots at the time of the robbery. And if you know something, they said that they're willing to offer $2,000 as a reward for an arrest and a conviction. So that's the latest that we have there. I'm hoping that from that video somebody recognizes something. I also want to talk to you about a crazy home invasion that we're hearing about that happened overnight. This also in Philadelphia. So they say that a man somehow made his way inside of a home. He, according to witnesses, tried to make his way inside a young girl's bedroom. They say that someone else at the scene had some sort of words, some sort of tussle with him. That suspect ended up shot and killed. So no one has been arrested as far as we know. You can see some of the bullet holes in that woman's home. The victims, actually, it was a mother and a daughter. They let us, Fox 29, in their home. They talked to us more about what took place there, those terrifying moments. Actually, they told a reporter what went down when they were hearing that someone was trying to get inside their home. Just, as you can imagine, frightening moments. I want to see how much of it we can play for you all, but remember, we are on podium watch for the Phillies. Let's take a listen.
I'm asleep and like 1 o'clock in the morning. I listen big noise outside because I have 2 cats. I think my cat broke something in my home and ran because looking happened and open line and see one guy broken. I don't see when broken. When coming, the guy inside in my home. One guy.
So you came face to face with the guy inside.
Yeah, fighting for this guy. You see my hands make something and push me and have it something in hands. Something, I don't know, because I'm sleeping, scared, and push me and go inside in my place and go inside the Valentina room, and this guy, I don't know, when killed me and killed Valentina, and screaming for people, help me, say, help me, help me. And people call the police, and this guy crazy. I don't know this guy.
Did you recognize him at all?
No,
It was one.
yes, only one.
And what did he
I
have
don't
in his
know.
hand?
I don't know more people. I don't know because only one inside my home. In my home.
And what did he have in his hand?
Yeah, having something.
Que tenía?
Como un tubo de metal. Sorry, my English is no.
Like a stick?
Like a metal tube.
Metal
Yeah,
tube.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then your neighbor downstairs.
Yes, yes. I'm screaming for the name is Daniel and said that and Dan, and because I.
So you did get to hear a little bit from that victim. She apologizes a couple of times there. She says her English isn't that great, but the gist of what she's saying is just how scared she was, how protective she was over her daughter, and luckily she and her daughter are both safe. Now I do see Alec is up at the mic. I want to let you guys listen in. Again, we are on Phillies Watch.
Nice to win a game with the long ball on a night when you don't have the majors leading the long ball either.
Yeah, really good to see, everybody kind of step up when Kyle's down today, and hopefully we can, get him back as quickly as possible. But yeah, I think, it just shows that we do have a long lineup, and, the numbers you might see on the scoreboard don't truly, reflect the talent I think that we have in here. And, any given day, anybody can get it done for us, and, that's what's cool about this team.
One count there, and you had the home run. Are you looking to do damage and more in those counts now, and when you get a pitch too?
Honestly, wasn't really thinking about damage. More just getting something that I could get the barrel on. Really, I don't think the thought was necessarily damage. I was just trying to stay through the gaps and then, hit something high enough that ended up going over the fence. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say that I was specifically trying to homer there. I was just more trying to hit a line drive into one of the gaps, and it ended up working out.
And what's impressed you about Stott's, recent surge too, maybe just how he's done it?
I mean, when you see the guy work, you're not surprised. Like, the dude can handle the bat really well. I mean, he can hit all pitches, and so for me, being with him every day and seeing him work, and I can understand why some people outside here might be surprised at the power, but it doesn't really, surprise me.
Alec, when you are struggling, how tough is it mentally not to try to change everything or just keep things going and work and just have belief that eventually, things are going to turn in your favor?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard when you got a little more experience and we've been through a few more seasons, then it kind of, you have a little bit more to lean on, I guess, in terms of just knowing that, one bad month doesn't make the whole season, and, there's a lot of time on your side to make up for it. But yeah, I mean, obviously nobody wants to go through prolonged stretches of not producing, not getting results, but, at the end of the day, focusing on the results, especially when they're bad, is, it's only going to make you worse. So I think just, for me, it was just getting in the cage and hitting, and, just keep going up there and having a positive attitude and letting the results come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Alec Bohm there for you guys. Now, I did hear that he actually scored the home run in the 6th inning, which actually brought us, it broke our 2-2 tie, bringing us up, winning 3-2. So, again, just a great night for our guys out there. And again, it's just so interesting to me, so funny to me to hear how nonchalant they are when they do these interviews, knowing that they just pulled off something pretty great. All right, we are going to take a quick step back. It looks like we're all done with the press conferences out at the clubhouse. When we come back, I'll run through a couple of the other big news tips to tell you all about when we come back. back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. Here's what you need to know before tomorrow. It's election day and it's the Pennsylvania primary races. So honestly, there are a lot of things at stake here. I mean, one of the key races that we're all keeping an eye on, the governor's race. There are also a couple of key congressional races that we will be digging into as well. What you're taking a look at right there on your screen is an article that we have put together already for you. It is the guide to everything you need to know before you hit the polls tomorrow. So even if you didn't do the research, you haven't been seeing the political commercials, it doesn't matter. Head to fox29.com or the free Fox Local app right now. We've got information on every single candidate in these key races. You guys can learn a little bit about them before you decide who you want to vote for. And then, of course, go on down to the polls tomorrow and cast your vote. Now, polls open up at 7 a.m. We talked to Kathy Orr, our meteorologist, a little while ago, and she said in the morning, temperatures are going to hover around 70s, mid 70s, maybe even high 70s. That's probably going to be the best time to get out there. If you're able to take a little time off of work, go ahead and cast your vote, then get on out to the office, or school, whatever it may be. But as the day gets on, it's going to get a lot hotter. So maybe your idea is you want to hit the polls a little later on into the evening. Just a heads up, the polls close at 8 o'clock. But if you're already in line at 8 o'clock, do not move. By law, they have to let you put in your vote. So I just want to let you all know what you need to know there. And if you still aren't aware of what your local polling place is, you can actually look it up online. The website is going to be pa.gov. And then I want you to scroll through the website until you find the Find Your Local Polling Place option. That's going to be the best place to go because your polling place may have changed. In my neighborhood, they've actually put up signs that tell you if you thought you were going to this place, no, now this is our local polling site. So just keep that in mind. And then also, as I mentioned, it is going to be really, really hot. There are a couple of key things to keep in mind if you want to stay safe out there. First and foremost, stay hydrated. They're saying drink a lot of water. That means no caffeine. Tomorrow is not going to be the day that you want to drink your coffee. I know you guys love it. I know you love your matcha. Leave it alone. Drink lots of water. They also say avoid alcohol and sugary drinks. If you can, avoid outside activity during the peak hours. That's going to be around noon. 11, I would say 11 to 2, probably going to be your peak hours there of heat. They also want you to avoid working, exercising, playing outside during that peak of the hottest weather of the day. Again, I said close to like 12, maybe 2, or 11 to 2. They're saying 12 to 5 p.m. Also, if you are planning to stay home, use your AC, use your fan. This is not the time to try to save some money, you guys. Stay cool if you can. They also say use your drapes, your shades to avoid having that direct sunlight into your apartment, into your home. That'll help to keep things a little bit cooler. And then you can also take a cool shower or a bath if you want to. And I know all of this sounds really, of course I'm going to do that. That makes sense. Of course it's going to be like that. But I want to put this out there for people who are taking care of parents or older people in their lives, maybe for the first time, and they haven't gotten to experience something like major heat like this before. So these are some of the things that you are going to want to keep in mind. And just real quick, some signs, some symptoms that maybe your loved one has a heat-related illness. Muscle cramping is something you want to look out for. If that happens, they say stop whatever they're doing, have them drink water, seek medical attention if whatever they're experiencing persists for more than an hour. Heat exhaustion, they say those symptoms include sweating, headaches, weakness, fatigue, dizziness. If your loved one is telling you something doesn't feel right, they're not seeing the way they should be, it could be heat exhaustion. You're going to want to get them into an air-conditioned room, take a sip of a cool, non-alcoholic beverage, take that cool shower or bath I was telling you about, maybe even take a nap. And then last one is really important to talk about, heat stroke, the most serious heat-related illness. Heat strokes can cause death, maybe even permanent disability, so please listen to me when I say this. We're talking about very high body temperature here, like above 103 degrees, red hot, dry skin. Then we're not talking about sweating here. If that happens, call 911.